One.
Ladies and gentlemen, the very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
In America, they watch you and they track your every move. They're even putting poison in your food. In America, the people are too blind to see the truth. But it's too late, and there's nothing we can do. In America, just watch your favorite show and watch the news, so they can pre-program you with your views. In America, job, obey the law, support the truth, and just kick back, cause there's nothing we can do. This is the divided states of Illuminati land. People stumbling all over the place like zombies, man. Just like the Walking Dead, they got this country zombified. All your water's fluoridated, all your food is modified. You are what you eat, so I guess that means that you're a GMO. They don't even know, but you're too blind to see it, though. You have to be asleep to have the American dream. Just how they need it, cause your freedom was never a thing. The best kind of slaves are the slaves that don't know that they're slaves. Stuck in a daze and they behave how they're told to behave. Good little sheeple people, always happy, always gleeful. No revolting, no rebelling, no uprising, no upheaval. The ones that rule us wanna keep us all clueless and weak. It's not looking so good for humans, the future is bleak. You think you are unique, but really you're a replica, created by the false education that they gave you here. In America, they watch you and they track your every move. They're even putting poison in your food. In America, the people are too blind to see the truth, but it's too late, and there's nothing we can do. In America, just watch your favorite show and watch the news, so they can pre-program you with your views. In America, obey the law, support the truth, and just kick back, cause there's nothing we can do.
In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
We are conditioned every minute of every day, and being ignorant is just the American way. The national debt is a debt we can never repay, but if they say to pay your taxes, you better obey. Hypocritical kingdom of wicked criminals, using symbols and signals to fill your head with subliminals. When you watch TV, it's corroding your mind. When the 5G network goes online, there'll be nowhere to hide. Electromagnetic frequencies all around us so frequently, nothing is what it seems to be. They deceive us so easily. No one even believe in me while they're meeting in secrecy. Have you seen the world recently? Never treating us decently. What happened to liberty and justice for all? Dictators free themselves, but we don't get nothing at all. I just want you to know the truth, so please don't shoot the messenger. It's a bitch, but this is how it is when you live. In America, they watch you and they track your every move. They're even putting poison in your food. In America, the people are too blind to see the truth, but it's too late, and there's nothing we can do. In America, just watch your favorite show and watch the news, so they can pre-program you with your views. In America, obey the law, support the truth, cause there's nothing we can do.
ODD TV. Your cell phone.
All right. We are here
Live. Sorry.
again. Part 3. Iger TV, Christopher Sylvius. 75 Days of Tribulation. rise and fall of the New World Order. So I don't know if like uh, we've not like been thorough on the 75 days of tribulation. So just gonna go into detail on that, and then whatever else we want to do afterwards.
Sounds good. If you want to do your presentation real quick. Uh, I still believe in like 3.5 years, but yeah, but I want to hear the 75 day presentation because I hope it is 75 days. I hope it doesn't come along. I hope it's a pre trib, but
Yeah, no, that's what I was telling Peter. It's like I hope you are right because then I
yeah,
win. It's
yeah.
like I
Well,
win either way if I'm right
I
or
hope,
wrong.
yeah, I hope it's a pre trib rapture, and then we're gone. But I don't think so.
But if he's wrong, he's got a rude awakening. I would think
Yeah,
because you have the imminency of Christ and the pre-trib rapture. It's like he can come at any moment. What the Bible really teaches is that the Antichrist can come at any moment. So if you were like not a saved Christian, but you followed like a false church, that preaches a false gospel, but you're like, you're reading the Bible and you're getting into all of these, false doctrines, and one of them being that pre-trib, and you're expecting Jesus to appear at any moment. When the Antichrist comes, that would make you very susceptible to actually receiving him as Jesus Christ, because that's who he comes in the place of. He actually comes to imitate Jesus, which me and Peter actually agree on. That's his whole purpose, is to say that he's Jesus Christ, second coming. That's what he's going to claim. That's a scary thought. But then he'll, it says that he'll boast himself above all gods and all that is called God. So obviously, he's not coming to actually say that, you know, he's Jesus. But at first, he might make it seem like because the false prophet I believe to be the Pope. So there's going to be like a building point to this, which will culminate, in the Antichrist basically revealing himself to the fool. So partially, like as he's getting very popular, he kind of tells people lies and gives certain propaganda about him. But then his full plan will, when he actually takes full control, that will be a surprise to a majority of people, maybe even those that are closest to him. So, anyways, Mark 13. In those days after the tribulation, the sun will be darkened, the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall, the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. Now, while we're on this verse, Iger, since I got you here, the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. It does not say that the stars are going to fall to the earth. It says they're simply going to fall. So, like, you'd see them on the earth as passing away like a scroll. I mean,
you're
because I've
getting
heard you say that before, that the stars are going to fall to the earth, and then use that as like a, a model to say that the stars are not these giant balls of gas, that they're literally going to fall to the earth.
yeah, but then in Revelation 6:13 it talks about the stars of the sky fell to earth like a fig tree dropping its unripe figs when it is shaking by a great wind.
Yeah, but that doesn't say all the stars. So it could be just talking about lights that are in the firmament. That doesn't necessarily mean stars, like it could be referred to a meteor strike.
It could, or I could be right, and
Yeah.
all the other flat earthers, and it could be all the stars fall to earth.
All
All
right.
right, we're getting off
I can
topic,
see.
bro. We
I
we
know.
we got to schedule a flat Earth debate.
I had to chase that rabbit though, because that's so there's that, everybody who's watching. Uh you can look at either side, choose for
Here's
yourself. You're
the
the jury here. So
yeah. Here's the King James version because I don't know what version I read. It was just the first one that pulled up, but the King James version. And the stars of heaven fell unto the earth, even as a fig tree casteth her untimely figs when she is shaking of a mighty wind. So yeah, the stars of heaven fell onto the earth, bro.
so here's what's gonna happen.
Doesn't say
There's going to
comets.
be a total lunar eclipse and a total uh, solar eclipse basically at the same time, which is going to cause it to be dark in the day as it prophesies in one of the Old Testament passages. I can't like recall specifically, but we're talking about it's never going to be day anymore past this point on the earth until the Lord Jesus establishes his kingdom. It will be total darkness, mostly total darkness, you know, and then it's just, it will literally become when the locusts come out of hell, there will be no light left on the earth. But the sun and the moon are going to lose their light permanently. So when this happens, the question is, when is this happening? Is this happening the entire 3.5 years after Great Tribulation? You know, because it is after the tribulation. That's what Jesus says. But what I will submit to you is that the entire tribulation, 3.5 years, does is shortened by Jesus. That's going to be my claim. And of course, Iger, yeah, like the Bible says there's going to be 3.5 years of tribulation, and we're going to agree on that. It's just, you know, a matter of like disputation to find out, you know, more things about God, and that we just learn and grow together. So it's
Yeah.
people just dispute over the pre-trib and the post-trib, and I like to do that. I recently had a debate with CJ Cox. Shout out CJ. Go over to the synagogue and subscribe there. But either way, this is not like a matter of division in the church. Not something people should argue about, but rather like if you're going to teach somebody the post-tribulation rapture, the correct biblical view, you should do it with discretion. You should do it respectfully. You know, that's just the way that the Christian life works. You show people that they're wrong sweetly and kindly in Christian love. It's hard to do sometimes, but you have to get good at it if you're going to be a real Christian. Jesus did it, you know. He could have said a lot worse things than he did. Obviously, he said bad things about bad people, but he did it wisely. Jesus told us to be wise as serpents, but harmless as doves. So there goes another rabbit. Back to Mark 13. It's going to get really dark after the tribulation is over. So that's what we get from that. Jesus said it's after the tribulation. There's not going to be like some pre-tribulation rapture. I don't think. So Daniel 12 says, from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. So what is that? Well, if you're familiar with Daniel's 70th week, you want to learn about that, okay? There's a great website you could go to, all the preaching, and then you go to the book of Revelation, tell you the whole thing. You can go to a documentary called After the Tribulation. And then, of course, I can break it down to you right now. The Bible prophesies of 69 total weeks playing out until Jesus Christ comes, dies on the cross, raises again from the dead. But there is this other week in the Bible. It's a total of 70 weeks, and 69 of them have already come to pass. There's just one that is left. Some good preachers that you could get this. You could go to their YouTubes and get access to their information. Allthepreaching.com, you need to go to that website. So this one final week is going to be divided. So there's a 70-week period. All right, 69 have already passed. We have 1 week remaining. Each day in that week is symbolic of a year. So there's 7 years within that final week. What's going to happen is that 7-year period will be divided into 3.5 years. 3.5 years, the Antichrist makes war with the world, comes to power. Now, the last 3.5 years is where he's going to persecute the Christians. He's going to try to find every Christian on the planet, behead them. That's what the Bible teaches. That's the division here. So Daniel 9:27, he's going to confirm the covenant with many for 1 week, and in the midst of the week he shall cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and for the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate, even until the consummation and that determined shall be poured on the desolate. So what's happening here? He's going to take away the daily sacrifice, make an abomination. It says that there in Daniel 12. Right here in Daniel chapter 9 says the same thing. He's going to cause the sacrifice and the oblation to cease, and the overspreading of abominations he shall make it desolate. In plain English, he's going to destroy the temple that the Jews want to resurrect from the dead. Okay, so they had 2 temples in the past. The first one they had under King Solomon. The second one they had under King Cyrus, who allowed them to go back and rebuild it. That temple was around when Jesus was walking the earth. And then Jesus prophesied it would be destroyed, which happened in 70 AD. What they want to do now is rebuild that Old Testament temple and go back to the original sacrifices. The Bible says this will happen. They will get a permit to build another temple, commonly referred to as the third temple in eschatological studies. They will erect this third temple over in Palestine. Okay, Jerusalem is already the capital of Israel, so it's all pretty much ready to go. They have a templeinstitute.com. You can go there. They have everything prepared for this temple. There's even people over there right now polishing off stones, okay, to get this ready. So it's coming, and it's coming quick. The Bible says they're going to build a third temple, and then 3.5 years after they build that thing, basically, while the Antichrist is coming to power, after 3.5 years, in the midst of the week, because the beginning of the week is when he makes a covenant. He allows this political event to even be possible, because right now it's not possible with the division of Palestine and the Jews. This is not possible. There's like a lot of wars and stuff down there, so you don't want to mess with that location, which is where the Temple Mount is, okay, with the golden roof or whatever that you probably know of. So they're going to get a permit to build a temple basically around that location, and they're going to go back to animal sacrifices. 3.5 years later, the Antichrist will destroy that temple, and then he will build a giant statue, a giant image, and the false prophet will bring that image to life, where it will be able to speak. And if you don't worship the image, you will be annihilated. Okay, he will find a way to kill you. That's the death penalty when he comes to power, is not worshiping the image, not worshiping the Antichrist. The only way to not die is to worship, and then take a mark where you cannot buy and sell without it. So Iger, this is pretty clear, right? You got a final 70th week, which is 7 years.
Yeah.
And then 3.5 years is going to be the division of that 7-year period. So you just have it divided. And then the Antichrist, the tribulation, when he destroys the temple and builds his image, that's the beginning of the Great Tribulation. So now we have 3.5 years of tribulation. That's pretty clear, right?
That's my take on it right now. That 3.5 for tribulation, and then 3.5 for the wrath of God.
Now, Daniel 11:31. Arms shall stand on his part, they shall pollute the sanctuary of strength, and take away the daily sacrifice, and they shall place the abomination that maketh desolate. This actually, Jesus said that this prophecy here was yet to come, and it is yet to come. But we know that it happened historically, based off the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah. It was a celebration of actually rededicating the temple after this dude, Antiochus, I believe it was his name, polluted it. I don't know if it's in these slides here. I'm pretty sure it is. Jewish virtual library. The Jews alone in the empire refused the command they would not defile God's temple with a statue of pagan Rome's newest deity. Of course, this was around the time of the destruction of the Second Temple, the war with the Jews and the Romans. But yeah, I don't have it in the slides. There was a guy Antiochus who actually placed a statue of like a pig or something within the temple. Now, when they removed it after all that happened and rededicated it, that's how we get Hanukkah. But Jesus said that that was yet to come to pass. So if it had happened historically, that matches with the Bible. But what Jesus is saying is this is still going to happen in the future, something even worse than what happened in the past. And it would be this 3.5 year period. So the Antichrist is going to tell the Jews that they can't sacrifice anymore. And the way that he's going to do that is by destroying their temple and killing all of them. And then he's going to erect an image and call everybody to worship him. And those who don't, he's going to exterminate just like he did the Jews. Now, that's why the Bible says, that's why Jesus said, when you see the abomination standing in the holy place where it ought not, run to the hills. He said, don't look back. Remember Lot and his wife, when she looked back and turned to ash, same scenario. Don't even look back. Get as far away from that place as possible. Even if, you're not a Jew, if you're a saved Christian, you need to get out of there. Probably if you're even just a human being in general, you need to remove yourself from that location when this happens. The Bible says it will happen. So let me make a couple of predictions, Iger. Make a prediction here before we get into the 75 days, because now that we're straight with what the 3.5 years is, now all we got to do is focus on the 75 days. But I'm going to make a prediction. They're going pretty soon here. I don't know when, but very soon in our lifetime, definitely, they will allow the Jews to build a third temple. And then about 3.5 years after that, the Antichrist will destroy that temple. During the time that they're building the temple, there's going to be major wars. Probably a World War III scenario will be playing out at the same time that they're building the temple, which will play into, that will just benefit the Jews because they can say, well, we build this temple and we make these prayers and all the war will go away. So that's their mentality the whole time, and the Antichrist is behind it, He's somehow involved in this. I don't know what that 3.5 year period looks like, but it looks like the Jews building a third temple in the world in total chaos from the way I see it, but other people could see it differently. But I will predict in our lifetime we will see the announcement of the third temple being erected. And if we're going to see that, we're also going to see, unfortunately, the Great Tribulation. And I think that's great, because I'm willing to fight for what I believe. I think it's a great time to be a Bible-believing Christian, a young earth creationist, a saved individual, because you can possibly have a greater impact living in these times than they could have ever had in the past with all the resources that they had, So we have a great advantage living in a world that's that sinful and wicked, to actually get people saved, because everybody would be thirsting for the truth at that time. And there you are. So that's a good motivation to read your Bible, so you can be prepared to give an answer to every man that asks you the reason of hope that is in you. And that's somewhere in the epistles of Peter. I don't know, but he definitely said that. Revelation 11. They were given to me a reed like unto a rod, says, measure the temple of God. Now, just because it says temple of God there, that does not mean that this is God's temple. Okay, the Jews built a temple, and that's not a part of God's plan, okay, for them to build a temple. actually says that when they do build a temple, it's going to be destroyed by the Antichrist, because they're going to make a deal with the devil himself to even get the thing built. So this is not like the temple of, the Lord God. This is what everybody perceives to be the temple of God. It's what the Jews perceive to be their temple. Okay. So the altar and them that worship therein, the court which is without, measure it not, for it is given unto the Gentiles, and the holy city shall they tread underfoot 40 and 2 months. So what's this 40 and 2 months? That would be the same thing as right here, 1,290 days. That's that last 3.5 year period. It's called the Great Tribulation. Last 3.5 years. So you have 1,000. What does it say? 1,290 days. 40 and 2 months. And there's descriptions right there. In the book of Daniel, in the book of Revelation, it says 1,260, 42 months. So what do we have? We have 3.5 years. I mean, you can just do the simple math on that. That is 3.5 years. 42 months, 3.5 years. So, I mean, I'm not very good at math, but I'm pretty sure 12 is 1 year. 24 is 2 years, and then if you add 6 to 24, or not, because we're talking about 3.5 years. Now I'm getting lost. So that's why I didn't get good at
3
math.
years is 36 months.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you need 3.5 years. Yeah, another 6 to 36, which would be 42. Iger, I love you.
We got to get a calculator over here, bro.
Yeah. So here it is again, though. 1,203 score days, talking about the two witnesses. They're going to be prophesying during the tribulation. And we know it's during the tribulation because it's talking about 1,203 score days. You go back to Daniel, you know exactly what is being said. But now, in this part of the presentation, I'm going to need help. So I'm going to stop the share screen. You have to pull up Daniel 12 again and go down to the last verses. If you can. Iger, co-host. I'm going to share your screen.
Okay. Daniel 12.
Yep.
King James Version. Hold on. Can you share my other screen? I'm about to share now. Hold on. So, Chrome tab. There we go. Can you read it? Should I make it bigger?
No, I got it. I got to add you. And then I'm going to full screen it. Boom.
Daniel 12, bro. How long is this one? Let's see. It's real short, bro. Can we just hear it? I'll play the audio.
Oh, no. Oh, yeah. Just play the whole thing for sure.
Daniel 12. And at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. Then I, Daniel, looked, and behold, there stood other two, the one on this side of the bank of the river, and the other on that side of the bank of the river. And one said to the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, How long shall it be to the end of these wonders? And I heard the man clothed in linen, which was upon the waters of the river, when he held up his right hand and his left hand unto heaven, and swear by him that liveth for ever, that it shall be for a time, times, and an half. And when he shall have accomplished to scatter the power of the holy people, all these things shall be finished. And I heard, but I understood not. Then said I, O my Lord, what shall be the end of these things? And he said, Go thy way, Daniel, for the words are closed up and sealed till the time of the end. Many shall be purified and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly, and none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand. And from the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. Blessed is he that waiteth, and cometh to the 1,330 days. But go thou thy way till the end be, for thou shalt rest, and stand in thy lot at the end of the days.
All right. Daniel 12.
It mentioned time and times and a half a time. So a time is 1 year, times is 2 year, and a half a time would be the division of a single year. So that is 3.5 years. The Bible makes it very clear for us to comprehend that the tribulation is a 3.5 year period of time. Now, we're going to focus down there in verse 11. Go down to verse 11. So we'll start in verse 11. From the time that the daily sacrifice shall be taken away, and the abomination that maketh desolate set up, there shall be 1,290 days. This is the book of Daniel. I think half it's written in like Arabic, but he's using a Jewish calendar to give 1,290 days. What the book of Revelation says is 1,260. So you start from 1,260 is the 3.5 year period. So you can kind of like ignore the 1,290 here, and the fact that it differs from 1,260 just based on the fact that he's using a different calendar. But it says in verse 12, Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh to the 1,305 days. So right there is 1,335 days. If you just subtract from 1,335, you back up to 1,060, you do the math. Again, I'm not very good at math, but I'm pretty sure 1,260 plus 75 equals 1,335. So you could have 75 days of great tribulation, and then blessed is he that waiteth, it says. So all that I can think, because Jesus said that no man knoweth the day or the hour, is that any time past this point, we know to lift up our heads and know that our redemption draweth nigh. Because Jesus said that if it were not for the elect's sake, no flesh should be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And there's some other verses that basically say the same thing. So Jesus will shorten the tribulation to 75 days. And for the remainder, after we get raptured out. Now, again, no man knoweth the day or the hour. So we don't know the exact day or hour that Jesus is going to appear, but we do know that after we reach 1,335 days, once we reach 75 days after the tribulation, we have basically made it if we don't get beheaded, before Jesus actually physically appears in the clouds. And so we can wait for him, and we can even just have, be great, because Jesus is going to put on the greatest show that any man has ever seen, or it's far beyond what you can even imagine the show that Jesus is going to put on when he destroys this world with his wrath. And we're all going to be in heaven to see it, I believe. So if you can wait 75 days, if you can endure, you can physically see Jesus coming in the clouds, that would be a great day. So that's my opinion of the Great Tribulation. The two witnesses will prophesy, and people will still be, there's still going to be like war. The wrath of God is going to be poured on past that point. So the remainder of the 3.5 years is the wrath of God, and the two witnesses prophesying, as well as the 144,000 Old Testament saints that are left here to preach the gospel to the rest of the people on earth who still have an opportunity to be saved, even though the rapture has already occurred. They could still have a place in heaven, essentially at the Great White Throne. So, what do you think, Iger?
I mean, it's interesting, bro. I never noticed the discrepancies between Daniel and Revelation. I heard you talking about them. And then I don't know why you went to why did you go? Because it's like the following verse, right? Like you read Daniel 11, and it talks about 290 days, and then 12 talks about 305 and 30 days. So there's only like 45-day difference there. But why did you decide to take it to Revelations, to come up with the 75 days and
Well,
not just
because
that number?
just because in Hebrew you're going to add an additional 30 days, you're going to add an extra month to your calendar, just to because today we are based on a solar calendar. They're strictly lunar in the Old Testament, so they're going to adjust the how do you say?
They had 13 months, right? That's
They're
what
going
they
to adjust by just adding days or subtracting days from their calendar, just so that it's not offset.
But
I'm not.
it's not talking about months. It's literally giving you days here, so it's not talking about months.
What's up? I know
Jamie.
I'm here. What's up, man? How you doing?
Good, man. How about yourself?
He's sort of like, this guy's a heretic. That's all good.
Hey, I'm a heretic, bro. I think the Earth is
Not
geocentric,
like me, no,
but
but
not
no,
so young.
no. So what
I would say
about
I'm a heretic, no more than a
I,
man ought to be, though.
yeah. Well, yeah, they're saying I'm in workspace salvationist. I don't think so, but do you think so one thing I've been studying this like really heavily recently, and I so the Jews were using a calendar that's called a lunisolar calendar, and so apparently I could show you the chart, but is what they do and did was they didn't actually, maybe before the flood or something, they had a literal 360-day year calendar, like strictly lunar, which is really interesting because like a lot of other cultures seem to have had that same calendar, and scholars are often saying like, oh, it's kind of a mystery because they all kind of like had a 360-day year calendar, and then all of a sudden they all like realized it didn't work anymore, just like kind of suddenly, like even cultures that weren't attached to each other. And like we know that they were really proficient star you know uh watchers and really accurate at it, and so it's really strange that they wouldn't have like they weren't stupid, in other words. So like, and they all started changing it at this around the same time. But anyway, they, it seems like something happened, and then but scholars don't really know exactly how to explain it. But from Daniel's time to through till today, in fact, you know, putting aside the other calendars like the Gregorian and the Julian that were developed, they did a thing which actually worked really accurately. They would every 19 years, um, 7, or I forget, I always forget. It's either the 7 out of the 12 or 12 out of the 19, or like 7 and 12, basically. It was a cycle, right? And I think scholars don't know for sure exactly how they split it up. Probably like 2 and then 1 and then 2 and then 1. But that they would add the 13 month, like you were saying. They're not sure they're not positive. I think before 200 AD, as I understand it, like how they were doing the cycle of the 19, but they know it was a 19-year cycle where they added 12 of the 19. They added a 13th month, I believe, is what I heard, is what I understand. And it's like you said, added a 30-day year. So like there actually is not a single time. It never actually has 360 days in it. Like it'll be like 354 and then like 360 something, and then like fluctuates. And is what that does, if you don't know already, is it, if you think about it logically, it makes sense. The moon, many of their things were based on the moon, right? So like the new moon every month. And so is what that did was it kept all the seasons in range. So like you never got more than 11 days off from the year. Like say the holiday was on the first of a certain month or whatever, they would never get more than 11 days before or after that with the cycle they have. So they never fluctuated more than 11 days off for the year. And is what that does is it keeps them in the seasonal, like an actual solar year. So they call it a lunisolar because when they do that, it kept it like so that their things would stay in season. Because if you used a 360-day year calendar, you would drift behind 5 days or so, 5.25 days every year, further and further away. So what that did is it made it so it would fluctuate kind of back and forth, and that still does, but it kept them in the seasons, which was a necessary thing, right? Because it was like a wave sheath offering in the fall, etc.
Yeah. Plus, when you got to plant, when you got to harvest, it would have been very important. Can we see the chart you're talking about?
Yeah, I could look it up. Hey Chris, what is your how do you understand the 70 weeks? Do you have like a particular starting point and ending point, or
Yeah, I
like for
think that
I'm curious what yours is.
there's 7 weeks for the building of the temple, and then there's 62 weeks after the building of the temple to the death, burial, and resurrection of Christ, and so that makes a total of 69. And then that final 7-year period would be for the New World Order at the end of the world.
Yeah. So did you guys happen? You probably didn't see the thing with Standing and me talking about this. Praise made a video about it.
No,
Like, okay, so
I did it.
I think Standing has a similar view to you. I think that I'd just be curious what you would say about this. I have videos I just did on this where I insist that there is no 7-year tribulation, although I do think there's an abomination of desolation, a rapture, like a post-trib rapture. I just think, well, I can show you if you want. I don't want to like take up your show or whatever, but it's interesting.
No, yeah, go for it.
So let me see. I could just, I mean, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. That'd be fun because it sounded like you were talking about it, but it's like
No,
I
actually,
count from
we've reached
457.
We're glad you're
we
here.
pretty
Bro.
much reached the very end of the
Presentation.
breakdown of 1,000.
Okay, right on.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I don't want to like argue with you about it. I just want to show you my view and then like see if you think if you see anything wrong with it, or if I can learn something from you, that'd be cool too. So I've been kind of making a big deal out of it because I feel like it's really clear. I got this. I'm trying to get this cycle so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. But
I've heard about that before because I was looking at the calendars for a while, so I've heard.
Well, yeah.
About, but I don't remember like. How
here I got it here.
The extra month, but
yeah, and if you just think about it logically, like they had to have like adjusted, right? So like when people like the count from 444 to like coming into like when he rode into Jerusalem, I don't think that's right. I think because that's counting the years. They have to do the way they do that is they go from 444, but then they adjust by like making them 360 days in a year. And I don't think that's the right way to do it because they didn't actually, because like if you read Luke 3 or maybe it's Mark, but like the one that starts with the baptism, like it says they were expecting the Messiah. Like, so like they were keeping track of time in that time. They thought John the Baptist was him, right? So like they knew the right time, and they said that at his baptism, and so it seems to me that they must have been counting years to know that, and we know historically that they did not count that way with 360-day years. Not to mention that it shows that they're looking for the Messiah at his baptism, which I would argue is when he's anointed by the Holy Spirit. It's really obvious when you read it in the and I think it's Luke 3. But let me see. I thought I pulled up this thing. Hold on. Oh, there it is. I think this is the one I looked at before. That's right. I don't know if I endorse everything on here, but let's see. I just want to explain the cycle. I guess that's not it. I'm sorry.
This is a
Here we go.
non-copyrighted, unedited channel. So
All right on. Okay, yeah. This here. I'll just share my screen. This kind of just tells you right. Not much there, but I guess I could just show you my video, but because I have, or I could just. I'll do this. Let's see. Yeah, this I started to make an illustration on my Microsoft whiteboard, so this will be cool. Let's see what you think. Yeah, that's basically what it's saying, right? So you don't have to have leap years and stuff. The 19-year time cycle is a standard because they got to stay in season. Let's see, what else could I open here? This might tell us.
Can you try clicking images?
Yeah, there might be a thing, huh?
Yeah, it'll be.
Here we go, right here. Something like that, I think. Yeah, see, common, then add a month. I don't know what this count is, but yeah, there's a 19-year cycle, and so leap, common. So I have to do like a 1 in between the leap years at I think the end, and then I guess it's just at the end, and then 1 here. 6th year.
I don't get it.
So there's a 19-year cycle on the left, see, and then it would start over, okay? And is what that cycle is 12 out of the 19, so 7 are not, and 12 are. I guess it's so that 13 months, see, 12 and then 13. So a leap year is when they add a month, and that's why it has an extra block here. So it's so many months, 235 months before they start the cycle over. So these longer ones are 13 month years, and the shorter ones are the 12 month. Yeah. So the leap
235 months in their 19-year cycle. Can you go back up? I want to see if there's like a pattern to their leap years. So it's 2.
Kind of.
Then 2, then 1. 2 to 1. 2.
Yeah, it's 2, then 1, then 3. Then 3 doubles and a 1.
Oh, okay. And then
so it's there's leap, okay. common, leap, common.
2 to 1, so 2 to 1, and 2 to 2 1. Wait, that's not enough, is it?
No, it's 2 1 2 1. 1 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 1 1. So it's you got 3 2s in between leaps, 3 of them, 3 doubles with the leap in between each one.
Bro.
I know it is. It's just spreading out the spacing of where you just have spreading out the one where you only have 1 common month or 1 common year in between 2 leap years. It's just trying to spread that out. So there's 1 here and there's 1 here. That's the pattern. So there's 6 and then 1 sets, I should say. That's kind of confusing. Yeah, it's just spreading it out.
Image. I kind of get the basic gist of it, but I want to see if there's a easier to remember pattern maybe.
I'm not sure that they actually know in the ancient times how they would do it. It doesn't really matter because it's what that did. Is because think about it. You're counting
that blue circle one, the circle one.
This one?
Yeah. It's more about the.
Yeah, that's not really a guide. It's just going to tell you how months usually line up with our months.
I like how Nissan is the first month.
Yeah, Nissan. They have two beginning months that are like
Tammuz, Ab.
Here, I'll show you. I'll show you this. I should have put Daniel in here. Is what I should have done. Here, let's see. Stop screen. Share it. This might help. I'll try to pull up the text and put it on my thing too. Let's see if that works. Okay. Oh wait, I got to do this. Okay. So let me get the text real quick. I'll put it up here. That'd be cool. Let's see. Daniel. 9, 24 through 27, KJV. I like the KJV, although it's not perfect.
762:1, 762:1. What's your favorite version, Jamie,
Of what?
of the Bible?
I like the KJV. I like the New King James probably, or I like the ESV too. But I have a New King James at home that I use. But I think the King James is good. I just think some parts of it are kind of like annoying, but I think it's a good translation. Though I don't have any problem with it. I just don't think you should only use that because there's stuff you'll miss out on that by looking at other Bibles. Because there's a few. It's fine. It's a perfectly fine Bible. Let's say that. But like for instance, like in Daniel, for instance, there's like I don't agree.
Are you making
Okay?
a chart right now, bro?
Yeah. Here, let me do this. Yeah, I just want to have the text right here on the screen so we can look at it as we go. But I guess it's not going to let me do that. Let's see if I can stretch it out. Whatever. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so actually, you know what? I'm sorry, guys. Just give me a second here. Share.
You gotta apologize, bro. You're good. You can take your time. We're basically post discussion right now.
Okay. This is a good version of my chart. It's shared right now. I'll show you that first. When you're ready, whenever you're ready. It's I'm sharing it there now. So I don't know what. So I think it starts in 457, and we know that the way they counted years, that this would be correct. You wouldn't convert it like you see a lot of people convert it to like times it by 360 by 490 or whatever, 483, and they'll times it by 360 and then convert that back into regular years. But we know what kind of years they were counting. Their cycle just kept it so you can just count years like their solar years. So the conversion is incorrect. I think that's demonstrably so. But it's not a problem. This actually, so some people who take your view actually hold this date. It's one of the 4 possibilities. I think it's the right one. It's a sure date in history. But so there's your 7 and your 62, right? And then your 1. So here's the issue with putting the 70th year in the future. So it says in verse 924, 70 weeks are determined upon the people to these are the things that have to be done in the 70 weeks, right? 70 weeks are determined to do these things: to finish the transgression, make an end of sins, to make reconciliation for iniquity, to bring an everlasting righteousness, and to seal up the vision and prophecy, and to anoint the most holy. And then you read through it, right? And it's like after the 62 weeks, which is after the 69. So this is the one that's in question, right? The covenant that he confirmed. I'm saying this is Jesus because here's the problem. Here, I'll show you on the other screen now. So I guess I could just use this. So see where it says the last week there, like,
Yeah.
where it says where the 62 meets, that's the year 27. He would be cut off in 31. So so if you put so it says in verse 926, right? It says after the 62 weeks, which is after 69 weeks, he's cut off, right? Everybody agrees that's Jesus. So here's the problem. If he's cut off after the 69th week and the 70th week hasn't started, that means he's cut off outside of the time period. Do you know what I'm saying? Have you ever heard this before? Like,
what do you mean?
So like, if the 70th week didn't start after the 69th, right? Like it's detached in the future, and Jesus is cut off after the 69th week, then he isn't killed within the time period. And the verse 924 says 70 weeks are determined to do, determined to finish the transgression, put an end to sin, bring in reconciliation for iniquity, everlasting righteousness. That's describing what Jesus did, I'm going to argue. And if you put him after the 69th week, the 70 week hasn't started yet, he's not in the 70 weeks. So my assertion is that that
Did we lose Jamie or did I get disconnected?
Oh, I'm
I don't know, Jamie, what happened?
I'm on mute. I didn't realize it the whole time. I don't even know what you heard me say. Did you hear me say after the 69th week he's cut off?
Yeah.
So that would put him outside the 70 weeks, in other words, and then that would mean he didn't accomplish the things listed in 924 inside the week. That's what I'm saying. Does that make sense? Like, do you
Well,
believe?
I don't see a problem with him. Like, he's not outside. He's still going to be in the 70 weeks. It's just the final week hasn't happened yet. So he's postponing judgment on the earth.
Okay, but what about
There's a
924? Do you want to pull up the or I can do it. I have it right here. Here, I'll do the, let's see, share. Let's look at the verse here. I got it. There it is. Okay. I mean, if you see what I'm talking about, it'll be easier if I show you. Here, I'll kill that. There, yeah, I'm sharing the verses if you want to look at it, but
okay.
I'll shut up after this. I just want to see what you think of this.
No, Jamie, you're absolutely fine, dude. You say whatever you want. Take as much time as you need.
So see how verse 24 says 70 weeks are determined upon thy people in the holy city to finish the transgression, to make an end of sins, to make. So I'm saying this is describing what Jesus accomplished on the cross. He put an end to sin, right? He finished the transgression. You could say the Jews finished their transgression because they didn't accept him, but some did. And he made reconciliation for iniquity. And here's the kicker about this. Some people will want to say, well, he didn't totally do that. Do we really want to say he didn't make reconciliation for iniquity, or he didn't bring in everlasting righteousness and put an end to sin? I want to say that, yes, right?
No, he hasn't made an end of sins or brought in everlasting righteousness yet. Like, he made that possible so everybody can, like, believe on him and get saved. It's a lot easier probably to get saved now than it was in the Old Testament, not because it's works, but just simply because Jesus had not come and done the many great things that he did. All I'm saying is, the ultimate fulfillment of this verse is after the 70 weeks. So the 69 weeks, there's certain stuff that he did that was very important, but what, is going to bring this prophecy to pass is the final 70th week.
Are you
on mute again?
Are you like a predator?
Oh yeah. So you don't think he put in an end to sin? Because isn't that like salvation, end of sin and stuff? So you're saying he kind of did, but it's not completed yet. Like I agree, like we still sin, so it's not totally finished. But like to say, like,
that's what I mean. He brought in forgiveness of sins. He fulfilled the Old Testament, and he made himself known, and he sent out his apostles. But the world is still, under sin. He's not actually resurrected his people to establish his kingdom yet. So I don't think you could say that verse is fulfilled in its entirety.
Well,
it's spiritually fulfilled.
But like, why do you think the Jews were looking for the Messiah if the verse 27 isn't about the Messiah?
Verse 27. Oh.
Yeah, right here. Like, isn't this describing Jesus right here? Like, well, you know the controversy over this he, right? Who's that? The he referring to? People, you probably say it's the prince here, right? The prince, like Titus.
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, so, that's what I would say.
Okay, so, I mean, I know people make that argument, but I think, the he has to actually linguistically has to refer to the Messiah, because the subject here is the people, not the prince. This is actually, it doesn't have a definite article. And this is even if you tried to make the he, of course, this doesn't either actually, but it is the subject and the previous subject, because we all agree that this is Messiah, Jesus, the Prince. And then, so I'm going to argue that everybody agrees this is Messiah, the Prince. And so the question is, does this he refer to the people of the Prince or the Messiah? And I would say it's actually the people that are the subject, not the Prince, because it's the people of the Prince that destroy the city, not the Prince. And you can kind of see how that would work, but I'm saying this is like a parallelism. It's like it's talking about Messiah and then what happens because he's cut off, and then it's talking about the Messiah confirming the covenant, which is really the same thing as him being cut off, and then it tells you about what happens. So then people say, well, who's this he then? He shall cause the sacrifice of oblation to cease. That's Jesus. And then for the overspreading of, they say this is the abomination of desolation. No, I think this he is still the Messiah because of the overspreading of abominations. That is the Jews not accepting him, and kind of like the first thing in 924, the transgression thing. They don't just he makes desolate the temple because of the abomination of them not repenting or whatever. But mainly though, the thing with the he is that well, here's the thing. This word for he makes the sacrifice and oblation to cease. In the Hebrew, this is actually related to the wave offering, right? And then the New Testament says Jesus was the first fruits of them who slept. And we know that, like Colossians 2:16, Hebrews, he's the one sacrificed for all. That he put an end in Hebrews 10, right? He puts an end to all the things that
Yeah,
wouldn't.
I get what you're saying. It's like Jesus is the one who's making an end to sacrifice because he's going to die on the cross and raise again from the dead. But the problem with that is that Jesus said, when you shall see the abomination of desolation stand in the holy place where it ought not, then know that you should run to the hills. So he's not talking about himself. He's talking about some other person putting like an abomination in the place. And so if you take what Jesus said and compare it to this verse right here, there's no reason to conclude that this is talking about Jesus. It's talking about the Antichrist.
Okay, what so did he put an end to the sacrifices then? Obviously, right? Obviously, right? You still think he stopped the sacrifices, right? Like,
Yeah, the ceremonial and dietary laws of the Old Testament no longer apply under the New
yeah, okay,
Testament.
yeah, right, good. So, let me think. Let me see here what I would say to that. I would say, well, I think I said everything I want to say. That's fine. I think it's problematic if he didn't, because like if you think about it, like, are you saying this he in 27, the he shall cause the sacrifices? That's talking about you. You say that he is referring to the people of the prince of the people of the prince, right? And you're saying that's Titus in the army, right? That destroyed the
The
temple.
Yeah, in verse 26, the people of the prince that shall come. Yeah, the people right there is referring to that so it's referring to people that are today Islamic. This is a Greek empire that came in, and it was actually the part of the, when Rome divided and some of it went over to uh, what do you call that place, Constantinople or some weird name. He moved his empire over in modern day Turkey. Well, the people that he had, that actually came from the exact military that was used to make war with the Jews and that destroyed that temple. You trace the genealogy, it goes back to like a Greek bloodline that, as that people progressed in the future, became Islamic because of the Ottoman Empire.
Well,
That's what I think the people is.
okay, but if the he refers to this prince of the people, this is talking about the destruction of the temple, though, right? In 70 AD, you're saying it's like a type
Yeah,
or something. So
Yeah,
like
well, the
those.
people of the prince is referring to the Antichrist, but the people are the ones who came and physically destroyed the temple in 70 AD. So the Bible is saying that that same people is going to come again in the future under the Antichrist. And uh, so what
Oh,
we,
okay,
they're going
but
to
you
destroy the city and the sanctuary, and the end shall be with the flood, and unto the end of the war, desolations are determined. That war was the Roman and Jewish war.
yeah, Titus in the Roman army. And you're saying the he, but wouldn't that he in 27, if even if that does refer to the prince of the people there, don't you think that's kind of like it's like there's I'm just saying like it doesn't say anything about the Antichrist. It says like, but I hear your point. I see your I know this view or whatever. I just think have you heard the linguistic argument that the he doesn't refer to the prince but the Messiah? Have you heard that probably, right? Like
Yeah,
according to some Hebrew scholars, they like, as far as I can tell, I can't find a Hebrew scholar that if you can show me one, I'd like to see like a scholar that says that he can refer to the people of the prince. Because like, shouldn't it say like the prince of the people, like the prince and his people or something? Because it's a singular he instead of the. Because it seems like the people
Well,
of the
the
prince.
the prince, he's not coming. He's not going to come and destroy the second temple. He's coming to destroy the third temple, but that's in the future. The thing is that the people that destroyed the temple back in 70 AD still actually exist today. They're
Yeah, yeah, sure, sure, sure. But it's okay. So don't you think if the Jews built a temple to do sacrifices in, that the temple itself would be an abomination, not so much like what? How do you understand the abomination? Because to me, it seems like the temple itself would be an abomination if they tried to like do sacrifices. Or do you look at it differently somehow?
Yeah, definitely. I think that the Jews are satanic, and what they're about to do is not right. It's all gonna play out in the devil's like plan. So yeah,
But isn't the abomination in the of desolation that Jesus mentioned? Isn't that going to be an actual abomination? Like this, like you couldn't have an abomination in the temple because the temple itself would be an abomination. Or do you think that's what it means? Because
I think that what happens in verse 26 here is 70 AD destruction. What happens in verse 27 comes in the future, and there is another destruction of the temple, except in it's an entirely different temple. The third temple, he's going to make it desolate, and then uh, until the consummation. That's a little tricky. The consummation and poured upon the desolate, which probably referring to the wrath of God. But the point is,
yeah, that does seem like it sounds that way. I agree that it seems like it's sounding like the end of the world, and that I just like I don't know. My biggest issue is having Jesus sacrifice not land inside the period of time, because I the like I could send you a sheet or whatever, but like you can act, do you know like Isaiah 53. Well, actually, I got that's the last thing I want to show you. Like, if you don't mind, it's like this really interesting article where it shows you how Isaiah 53, the language there, like, is literally seems to me, anyways, that it's totally using the language that's in 924, and like we all obviously think Isaiah 53 applies to Jesus' sacrifice, right? Wounded for our transgressions. And he says he for our. Let's see if I can find that article real quick. I have it.
yeah,
And so that makes me want to say, like, actually say, like, in I think it's First Corinthians 6 or maybe it's 2 Corinthians 6, Hebrews 9 and 10. Seems like they're like literally quoting from Daniel 9:24 to say Jesus did fulfill this. But here, let me see if I can find that real quick. Let's see. Oh, I know what his name is. It's Wilcoxon, Daniel 9. I know I have my
Jamie,
head.
do you like do you think like a preterist like like Revelation's already been fulfilled and stuff like that, or
I'm a partial preterist, but like small p. I would say like it's very much not like I believe most of the stuff that I think Chris would that's going to be in the future. Although I think the time periods in Daniel, like the 1335, should actually be should be the days should be a year, and where that lines up in Revelation 7 and stuff. But that's like a whole.
well, don't get me wrong, Jamie. I do think that those verses are fulfilled. Okay,
Oh,
but
okay.
there is a dual prophecy sometimes in the Bible where something will be
Yes.
fulfilled and then it happens yet again in the future.
Yeah, I think
And
that's much more of a real thing to say. See, Standing wasn't. I was telling Standing that I was like, look, dude, it's you know, of course, I was saying you should take 927 to be also, talking about Jesus, because we see that the Antichrist is going to try to like, he's going to be like a counterfeit, right? In the end times, like you see like a false Trinity in Revelation there, you can kind of pick out if you're careful, like the three unclean frogs. It's kind of like an anti-Trinity with the beast, the false prophet, and the Antichrist. And so there's lots of indications that he's mimicking Jesus, and and you could even say that. I would just say, I think it's a problem in the first place to actually detach the 70th week in the sense for like the literal 70 week, because God, like when he sets a probationary period for something to happen, like, he there's nowhere else that happens. Of course, this would be, a special case, obviously, right? Oh, here it is. Um, Let me see. Is this the right one? I think so. Oh, here.
yeah, I mean, I would believe like go full preterist and believe that these things are not going to happen in the future, that they've already happened, just based off of the fact that, there's, like, it has already happened. Like, you can see that it was fulfilled with the 3.5 year ministry of Jesus. He's making an end to sins. Like, it
Yeah,
was fulfilled, but there's good reason to believe that it was not fulfilled in its entirety, that there are parts of this
that's
prophecy
reasonable.
that have
That's
not happened yet.
Yeah, that's reasonable. I think Daniel 9's fulfilled, but I think I know what you're saying, like because things in Daniel 10:11. Who do you think the little horn is?
The little horn, the Antichrist, that's what the little horn is.
Do you think I don't think it's Antiochus, but I don't really care if that's part of it. But I think Daniel 7, 8, and 11 are all talking about the king of the north, who is the little horn. So I think I think all that's future. That's describing the guy in the future. But well,
Yeah,
okay, yeah. It sounds like you know the verses already. But I'll just say I'll put this in the side chat. The link for this. It's pretty good, I think. If you want, but it's up to you. You know.
Antiochus, like I said, yeah, there was verses that prophesied about him. He matched them. He actually did put a pagan statue in the temple, so he was an antichrist figure. He just didn't do all the things the Bible says that the antichrist will do. He only did partial. He only did that partially.
Yeah, there's like 10 things, right? Probably about, and he like does like seven of them. You could say it was him. Seven out
Yeah,
of the 10. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It sounds like you know it pretty well then.
I'm 33, so I'm not 600 like Noah.
I
There's
thought you.
definitely a lot of room to grow.
I thought you were like 26. I'm gonna be 40 this year. Scary.
Nice. Your best years are yet to come, Jamie.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, what do you when do you think Jesus is gonna return soon? I kind of do.
Yeah,
Like
I
in
think that they're going to be building that temple in my lifetime.
I think if I was gonna guess, I would say it's by 2030, but 2031 maybe. I don't know. There's lots of reasons to that date is interesting. The other thing that's interesting about I don't know how you count the time, but if you do count from 457, I'm almost certain that's correct because the Shemitah cycle and the Jubilee cycle. So I thought, like you said too, the first 49 was to build the temple, but like the historical evidence isn't very good on that from any of the dates. And so I've been wondering recently maybe that it was if it's just setting the tone to let you know it's like this is a Jubilee cycle, like it's because it's 1049s, right? Like 7 times 7, and it says like they're in exile. Every time they're in exile, it's because they didn't let the land rest, and so God gave them a year in like when they're in Babylon and stuff. And so if you
Well,
look at Leviticus 24 through 26, it talks about that.
yeah, there could also be like probation periods, though. Like within the building of the temple in that 7 years, it could be like, you know, if you even read the story of Ezra and Nehemiah, I believe that's his name. Is that you have Ezra? Yeah, Nehemiah, which
There's a
Ezra is like the scribe, and then he's building the temple, I think, and Nehemiah is building the walls, or it's vice versa. But the point is, you read those books and you see that they are allowed to build parts of the temple, and then like some guys come in and stop them, and then they have to stop building the temple, and then they
yeah,
get this other decree, and then they resume building the temple, and then that doesn't get completely finished because the people are going crazy and they're marrying strange wives. They're like putting a stop to it and then getting all that straightened out. And so I think that those 7 years can actually be like probation periods within them to where
yeah,
the timeline stops
that
and
could
then
be.
until it's all fulfilled.
There's a problem in the chronology of Ezra and Nehemiah, whereas scholars, it's really complicated. I have an article here on this too. I'll give it to you. Um, just if you're interested, that sort of thing. But maybe stuff you haven't heard before. But they discuss the issues with like the dating and then scholarship and stuff. But it's Adventist, so beware. I'm trying to sneak in the back door with my demon theology. People say I hear this kind of thing. It's kind of sad, but
Yeah, I mean, Adventist, I don't know, like the Seventh day Adventist, but I will listen to anything that I see that matches with the Bible, and then deal with their major heresies another day. They have um, all false denominations, I would say, have correct doctrine. They're just, other doctrine is.
We lost Jamie. I don't know if he's backstage. You might want to check.
All right. No, he's not.
Bum 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 bum. Well, it was nice to hear another point of view.
Yeah, I think Seventh Day Adventists are Jehovah's Witnesses' second cousin. So they have a lot of similarities. They do have good doctrines, but then they have the major, heresies, and that's where, like, I don't like Seventh Day Adventists. So
Yeah,
I
I don't know
don't
much about them, bro, but I know they're. I do agree that the seventh day should be Saturday. It's
really.
actually Friday. Yeah, it should be from it should be from Friday sunset to Saturday sunset, technically.
I don't
But
see how we can know what the Sabbath day is. It's like based on an entire year where each individual month is named. It's like they have certain feasts set up within the year, and you had to keep track of this. You had to have a Levitical priesthood set up to even keep track of it. So it's like today under the New Testament where there isn't a tabernacle and there isn't priests.
well, you
I
don't
don't
think
see
it
how
came
we
every
could
7 days,
look at
bro?
our modern calendar and consider any day of the week to be a Sabbath.
No, but you don't think it came every 7 days?
Yeah, but it was a specific day of the week, though. It wasn't just
Saturday.
like, oh, well, the last day of the week for anybody using any calendar is going to be the Sabbath. It was a Jewish calendar at specific times. In fact, if you had the wrong day, and you're on some other calendar and you think it's, not the Sabbath day and you so happen to be doing things that are not good on the Sabbath, if you're not obeying the Sabbath, you're to be put to death in the Old Testament. So you don't want to have your times off. I would
Well,
say today,
there's like a quote. There's like a quote from the Pope, one of the popes, where he says that they changed the Sabbath from Saturday to Sunday just because to prove that they had the power to do so. So I mean, even the Vatican says stuff like that. So and then if you look at the Jewish people themselves, they celebrate the Sabbath on Saturday. It's Friday night to Friday sunset to Saturday sunset is technically the Sabbath. And
yeah,
then
but regardless, even if you could prove to me that
if you look at the
that
wording, if you look at the words Saturday, right? In Spanish is sábado. In almost every language is sábados is Sabbath is Saturday, bro. And then I mean, so there's too much evidence for me to not accept Saturday as the Sabbath right now from my
even
worldview.
if I'll give you Saturday as a Sabbath. If you're a Seventh Day Adventist, then that Old Testament law still applies, and you are to be put to death if you're not resting on the Sabbath. Even though they don't have the power to enforce it, that's what they believe. It's what they have to believe because that's the punishment for someone who doesn't obey the Sabbath. Death penalty,
Yeah, yeah.
capital
I'm
offense.
just saying. I'm not saying to kill people or nothing. I'm just saying like traditionally Saturday is it's the Sabbath. Just it's that's how you say that's how you
It's
say
mean.
Saturday.
All I'm saying is it's meaningless to keep it.
Let me see how you say Saturday in Greek. Like it's just every language you say Sábado is Saturday, bro. Even in English, it still resembles it. And English is the most like the newest language on earth. You know what I mean? So as you start going back through the languages, all the languages point Saturday to be the Sabbath. Now you know how they switched the calendar, so maybe it's not the original Saturday that we had today that they they follow back in those days. But I'm just saying, I would think Saturday is the Sabbath, but who knows, right?
Yeah, but that's just the first hurdle. It's like, okay, now we've established Saturday's the Sabbath. Now, what about everybody having to keep it?
Well, that'll be like something you're gonna have to take up with God. You know what I mean on Judgment Day. It's not something it's not something the government, any government, unless you, like you say, you're in, whatever Jewish town or whatever, that they might enforce something like the death penalty for something like that, but not in today's day and age. But if you want to keep it just to for the sake of following the Ten Commandments, I don't see nothing wrong with it. And again, I'm not keeping it, but I wouldn't mind trying. You know what I mean? Like I actually don't work on Saturdays, bro. I take off Saturdays instead of Sundays. So, but I still work Friday night, so I'm not exactly following the Sabbath. But yeah, I don't work on Sundays, bro. I mean Saturdays. For me, what it took was for the Pope. I'm gonna look that up, bro. When the Pope says that they switched Saturday to Sunday just so they could prove the authority of the Vatican or the Catholic Church. You want to take a little intermission, bro? I could play that Illuminati Covenant video that I've been wanting to share for tonight.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then maybe we'll go back to the Sabbath or not. But I'm not the Seventh Day Adventist here. It's probably a better debate for Jamie. He probably has a lot more slides and stuff saved. Share audio. Chrome time. Maybe Jamie will come back. We're going to take a little break. This one's 8 minutes long, bro. And so I'm going to take if you share my screen, bro, we'll take a little 8-minute break real quick, and then we'll come back.
All right, hold on. I was all right. Where's the? There it is. Add full screen.
Be back in
Boom.
8 minutes.
An illusion it will be, so large, so vast, it will escape their perception. Though those who associate thought us as insane, we will create separate fronts to prevent them from connection between us. We will behave as if we are not connected to keep the illusion alive. Our goal will be accomplished one drop at a time, so as to never bring suspicion upon ourselves. This will also prevent them from seeing the changes as they occur. We will always stand above the relative field of their experience, for we know the secrets of the Absolute. We will work together, always, and will remain bound by blood and secrecy. Death will come to he who speaks. We will keep their lifespan short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so that they will never see what is happening. We will use soft metals, aging accelerators, and sedatives in food and water. Also, in the air, they will be blanketed in poison everywhere they turn. The soft metals will cause them to lose their minds. We will promise to find a cure from our many fronts. Yet we will feed them more poison. The poisons will be absorbed through their skin and mouths. They will destroy their minds and reproductive systems. From all this, their children will be born dead, and we will conceal this information. The poisons will be hidden in everything that surrounds them, in what they drink, eat, breathe, and wear. We must be ingenious in dispensing the poisons, for they can see far. We will teach them that the poisons are good, with fun images and musical tones. Those they look up to will help. We will enlist them to push our poisons. They will see our products being used in film and will grow accustomed to them and will never know their true effect. When they give birth, we will inject poisons into the blood of their children and convince them it is for their help. We will start early on, when their minds are young. We will target their children with what children love most, sweet things. When their teeth decay, we will fill them with metals that will kill their mind and steal their future. When their inability to learn has been affected, we will create medicine that will make them sicker and cause other diseases for which we will create yet more medicine. We will render them docile and weak before us by our power. They will grow depressed, slow, and obese. And when they come to us for help, we will give them more poison. We will focus their attention towards money and material goods, so that the many never connect with their inner self. We will distract them with fornication, external pleasures, and games, so that they may never be one with the oneness of it all. Their minds will belong to us, and they will do as we say. If they refuse, we shall find ways to implement mind-altering technology into their lives. We will use fear as our weapon. We will establish their governments and establish opposites within. We will own both sides. We will always hide our objective but carry out our plan. They will perform the labor for us, and we shall prosper from their toil. Our families will never mix with theirs. Our blood must be pure always, for it is the way. We will make them kill each other when it suits us. We will keep them separated from oneness by dogma and religion. We will control all aspects of their lives and tell them what to think and how. We will guide them kindly and let them think they are guiding themselves. We will foment animosity between them through our factions. When a light shall shine among them, we shall extinguish it by ridicule or death, whichever suits us best. But if they ever find out they are our equal, we shall perish then. This they must never know. If they ever find out that together they can vanquish us, they will take action. They must never, ever find out what we have done. For if they do, we shall have no place to run, for it will be easy to see who we are once the veil is fallen. Our actions will have revealed who we are, and they will hunt us down. And no person shall give us shelter. This is the secret covenant by which we shall live the rest of our present and future lives. For this reality will transcend many generations and lifespans. This covenant is sealed by blood. Our blood. We, the ones who from heaven to earth came. This covenant must never, ever be known to exist. It must never, ever be written or spoken of. For if it is, the consciousness it will spawn will release the fury of the Prime Creator upon us. And we shall be cast to the depths from whence we came, and remain there until the end of time, of infinity itself.
I was thinking of playing Can't Happen Creation Seminar 5. Maybe I should have started with that.
Yeah, we could play some of that.
Yeah, FFT's here. Maybe that's more
Or you
suitable
could,
for the audience.
there was one lecture that he gave on the Prophecy Club. It's actually like a great video. Have you seen that one?
I don't know, bro. I mean, I watch all of Can't Happen Creation Seminar, but the truth about it is, since he was going
He
around
did it.
doing them all over the world, there's a couple variations to like the different ones, right? And that's long, bro. Like it'll take you a good 12 hours to watch all of Can't Haven's Creation Seminar. It's like one's
Yeah.
like 2 hours,
This one
one's
is
1
just
hour.
about end times. We could play that one. It's pretty long, but you could like fast forward, put it on like you was doing with the other video, speeding up the audio.
Yeah, if you send me a link.
You've never seen it. You could just if you YouTubed it, you could put in Kent Hovind Bible Prophecy Club, and it should come up.
On YouTube or Google?
Google may be able. I don't know about Google, but if you did search it on Google, it'd probably provide a link to a YouTube channel, anyways. So
Can't Happen Bible Prophecy. Hold on, I gotta copy a S again, bro. Coming soon to a city near you. Oh man, it's gonna be hard. Can't Happen has so much work put out there. Evolution, Foundation for
you
the Antichrist, Can't Happen.
you don't see.
I see one that says here. I'll show you what I see actually. Let me share my screen. That'll work out better. I'm sharing my screen now. The first one says Evolution, Foundation for
Yeah,
the Antichrist.
yeah, that first one. That's it.
The second one, bro, it says Can't Happen New World Order Prophecy Club. It's
Just go to the first one because the first one isn't the full video. It's just the first part of it.
All right.
And we don't even have to play the whole thing. Just get through some of it.
But what do you think of the Illuminati Covenant, bro? It's pretty creepy, you know? Like it kind of lays out basically what's happening in this world today, and nobody really knows where the Illuminati Covenant came from. It popped online. I forget, like 15 years ago or so. But
yeah, dude, those videos you play, those songs are mind opening. They really are.
Yeah, but that was that's an actual just paper. There's a lot of different variations. I just picked that one because you know, the pictures in the background. It was and I follow ODD TV. He's the one I played the music for and stuff in the beginning. One of my favorite rappers. All right, here goes Can't Happen, and I'll put it at 1.5 speed so we can get through more quicker. I'm gonna go get some headphones.
Welcome to the Prophecy Club. We study and research Bible prophecy. Our topic for this segment is evolution, foundation for the Antichrist. We know that the Antichrist is coming, and most of us believe that he's alive these days. But how is it that some man can come in and rule the world for 3.5 years? He has to be standing on a foundation of lies. And we believe part of that foundation is evolution. Our speaker tonight is one of America's best on that topic. He has 15 years service as a science teacher. He has a doctorate in 7 years. He's the last 7 years he's been going across America speaking out about evolution versus creation. And in that time, he's had 27 debates, never having lost one. Been on some 2,000 radio programs. He's booked 2 years in advance to speak. He speaks over 700 times a year. Will you help me welcome Dr. Kent Tubman?
All right. Well, it's good to be here this evening. As I mentioned, my name's Ken Hogan. I've been for a while. I was a high school science teacher 15 years, and now talk about creation, evolution, and dinosaurs. This is the only section you're getting to see. You've already missed a whole bunch of material. We talked about it in the first couple of sections, and you can get all my stuff on videotape. Talk about the age of the Earth. You know, the Bible teaches the Earth is only about 6,000 years old. The evolution view says it's billions of years old. Somebody is wrong. And the Bible would indicate that dinosaurs lived with Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. They were just part of the normal creation. And so for the first 1,600 years of human history, things were very different before the flood came. Things were huge. We cover all that on videotape. And number one, about why the people used to live to be 900 and all this kind of thing, and how dinosaurs fit in. But tonight I want to share with you what the theory of evolution has done for the world. There is no question the kids are being taught evolution in the textbooks. That's without question. But what is it doing for the world? And why? And who's behind all this? Is there a smoke-filled room someplace where we can go, find the people that are in charge of this? I think it's much higher than that. There probably are a lot of smoke-filled rooms and conspiracies, no question, but this is Satan versus God. Even those folks in those smoke-filled rooms trying to have their little conspiracy, they don't even fully comprehend the real battle and what's going on. The problem is people have rejected God's authority. They don't want God to reign over them. It started with Lucifer in the Garden of Eden. Lucifer, Satan, came to Eve in the Garden of Eden, and he said to the woman, "Yea, hath God said, you shall not eat of every tree of the garden?" First thing he said was a question in Genesis chapter 3. The second thing he said was, "Ye shall not surely die," calling God a liar. And the third thing Satan said to Eve, he said, "Ye shall be as gods." Satan started this lie that man can become like God. And it's a lie, and that's really evolution in a nutshell. Ye shall be as gods. That's where the whole idea got started. It started with Satan. It didn't start with Charlie Darwin. It started with the devil. Actually, he's the one who wants to be God. Lucifer wants to be God. Isaiah 14, Lucifer said, "I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." See, the devil wants to be God, but the job is not available. So he's all upset about that. And he can't be God. So he's mad at God, but he can't do anything to God. So he's mad at us because we are made in God's image. See, that's why the devil hates you. You remind him of God. He hates humanity, period. He wants to destroy the human race. Financially, emotionally, physically, spiritually, every way he can, he wants to destroy everything about what God has made. So you have to look at this from a heavenly perspective before you're going to comprehend what on earth is happening. What is going on? Satan said, "I want to be like the Most High." He started a rebellion against God about 6,000 years ago. And we could trace the history of this long war against God. There's a tremendous book by Henry Morris, a good friend of mine in California, who's the president of the Institute for Creation Research. If you want to get that book, you can call 619-448-0900. Get their catalog from ICR, great material. Best book on the history of the evolutionary theory that I've seen is that one. But this is really Satan versus God. There have been different groups down through history that have come to the forefront and, taken over for Satan or tried to work with Satan very closely, and there are some today doing the same thing. We could talk about how the Babylonians had an early form of evolution taught. They thought they were going to become like God, and there have always been people who taught this evolution theory. But it's a philosophy that is destructive. Satan comes and disguises himself like an angel of light. "I'm here to help you. Eve, how would you like me to show you how you can become like God?" God's hiding something from you, Eve. He knows that if you eat the tree, off that tree, you can become like God. Satan lied to her, and she fell for it. Adam came along and realized what she'd done. Adam voluntarily became sin to save Eve, just like Christ voluntarily became sin to save us. He knew what he was doing. Adam knew what he was doing. Eve was deceived, it tells us in 1 Timothy. Adam wasn't deceived. But Satan disguises himself like a messenger of light. "Hey, I'm here to help you, Eve." I think Satan is using this evolution philosophy to lead millions to hell. Countless millions over the last 6,000 years have gone to hell because Satan has deceived them. See, evolution is not science. It's a philosophy. It's a way of life. The Bible warned us, a way of looking at life. The Bible warned us in Colossians chapter 2 to beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit. You see, what you believe determines how you behave. Your philosophy is extremely important. And there's only two choices. Either there is a God or there isn't. If there is a God, we better find out who he is and what he wants and do what he says. If there is no God, then how do you decide what's right and wrong? Evolution is a philosophy that allows man to psychologically get rid of God where he can become God. He decides if it's right or wrong. You need to be cautious about your philosophy because the evolution philosophy, if you really follow it through and think about it, it changes your whole way of looking at the world. You see, if evolution is true, man is just an animal, right? Just a higher animal, that's all we are. And animals would have the same rights that we do. Animal rights activists, huh? That comes from their philosophy of evolution, folks. If evolution is true, only the strongest have a right to survive. The weakest should be eliminated. Don't you pull the weeds out of your garden? If you believe in evolution, maybe these weaker, inferior humans should be eliminated. I see where that would lead in a few short time. If evolution is true, might makes right. If you're the strongest, you got the right to rule the world. King of the jungle. Inferiors should be eliminated. One of the races of humans must be superior to the rest. Isn't that a normal following, a corollary to the evolution theory? Oh, yeah. Protection of the world and the environment is our duty because we have evolved the farthest. We need to save the planet. Flows right from the same philosophy. There are no absolutes about right and wrong. Professors sometimes say that when I do debates at universities, they'll say, there are no absolutes. I say, Are you absolutely sure? If there are no absolutes, how can you be so sure? By the way, I tell them, if your brain is nothing but a collection of chemicals that got together by random chance over billions of years, how can you trust your thoughts and your reasoning process? Wow, think about that one. How do we decide what's right and wrong? I spoke at a public school. I get into lots of public schools. I did about 100 last year. I spoke at a public school in Pennsylvania. The auditorium would only hold 300. They had 900 kids, so they brought them in 3 shifts for me. One of the groups came in. A kid sat on the second row, a senior at the high school. He said, Mr. Hovind, I'm an atheist. I said, really? He said, yep, there is no God. I said, well, let me ask you a question, son. Do you know everything? He said, well, no, of course not. I said, well, do you know half of everything? He said, well, no. I said, okay, well, let's pretend that you know half of everything. Is it possible that God exists in the other half you don't know? Brand new thought. I said, by the way, son, if you're an atheist, let me ask you a question. How do you decide what's right and wrong? He said, oh, that's easy. I decide if it's right or wrong. He said, I'm the God of my own universe. I said, well, I'm glad to hear that, because I'm going to shoot you in 5 minutes. He said, you can't do that. I said, yeah, I can. I'm the God of my own universe. I decided it's fine. How do we decide what's right and wrong? Somebody says that's wrong. Oh, yeah? Says who? See, America started off with Christian foundations where we had, thus saith the Lord. That says who? But we've left that, haven't we? Now how do we decide what's right and wrong? We've degenerated into a democracy where we decide right and wrong based on what the majority wants. We started off to be a constitutional republic, starting off our foundations where thus saith the Lord. God decides. You see, the 2 basic forms of government here, the 2 basic philosophies of government are evolution and creation. If evolution is true, laws come from man's opinion. And you get your rights from the government. The government decides if you have the right to travel, if you have the right to do this, all of your rights come from the government. But if creation is true, then we have inalienable rights that are endowed by the Creator. Ooh, big difference. Kids, you tell kids in school, hey, you shouldn't steal. Why not? Because God says you shouldn't steal. That's why not. But if there is no God, what are you going to tell them? Because it's not nice. Well, that won't cut it. We've lost a whole generation because of our philosophy we're giving them, folks. See, America was a constitutional republic when we started. Because our founding fathers, even though they weren't all Christians, but a lot of them were, Bible-believing Christians. But they had a biblical philosophy. They gave us a republic. When Ben Franklin walked out of the building, one of the ladies said, Mr. Franklin, what kind of government did you give us? He said, a republic, if you can keep it. Republics are hard to keep. We've lost ours, folks. We are not a republic anymore. We have degenerated to a democracy, and the next step is totalitarianism. We're that close to becoming a totally socialistic and then communistic country in America. You watch, it's going to happen real soon. We've become the land of the free and home of the slave. Happening. Charles Darwin wrote this book right here, The Origin of Species, 1859. Now, that wasn't the whole title to the book. I'll show you the whole title in just a minute. Back in those days, they had long titles on their book. But they call it The Origin of Species. Now, what is a species? You know, he never does talk about the origin of species in The Origin of Species. He never does talk about it. The Bible never says they bring forth after their species. The Bible says they bring forth after their kind, right? Now, what is a kind? Well, I would say a wolf and a dog are the same kind of animal. I mean, stand back and look at it. It's not a turtle, okay? A horse and a zebra are the same kind of animal. Now, they may not be the same species, but they're the same kind. And we've never seen an animal bring forth something other than the same kind. Never seen that. But the textbooks talk about the speciation as if this is part of evolution. There's a vocabulary breakdown back in the 1800s when Darwin's book came out. They were looking for the origin of species. God never said anything about that. The origin of their kinds. That's all we've ever seen is animals bring forth after their kind. Anyway, these may be different species of monkeys, but they're the same kind of animal. And noticing that just because man has classified them as different species does not mean God classified them as different kinds. And it might be that each of these came from a common ancestor. I wouldn't argue about that. But it's still the same kind of animal. That doesn't prove we all came from a rock. Anyway, excuse me. Here's the whole title to Darwin's book. The Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection, or the Preservation of Favored Races in the Struggle for Life. Ooh, favored races? Charlie, that's not politically correct. Well, back in the 1800s, it was. You see, back in the 1800s, nearly everybody was a racist. A lot of the advanced nations were going to these third world countries to try to colonize them, right? So they could steal their gold and rubies and diamonds for pay the guys a nickel a week, to work for them. You have to understand the climate of the 1800s, particularly the early 1800s when evolution became popular, before Darwin ever came on the scene. Charlie Darwin's grandpa, Erasmus Darwin, came up with everything Darwin did. Darwin never gave credit to his grandpa, by the way, but I'm sure he stole all the ideas from me. But Charlie Darwin, when his book came out in the mid-1850s, 1859, racism was popular. It was acceptable to be a racist. Today it's unacceptable. Darwin thought natives were just advanced animals. Huh. Well, that fits with the times. We had slavery in America in 1859, didn't we? Yeah. Civil War hadn't started yet. They bought and sold them like cows. Matter of fact, they packed them onto ships and brought them over here. They calculated how many they could get on the ship. They estimated that 1/2 of them would die en route to the New World. They chained them to the deck and left them for 2 weeks. I mean, that's where they slept, that's where they ate, that's where they went to the bathroom. They didn't move, chained to the deck for 2 weeks. Half of them died. It's no big deal. Just like cows, throw it away, get a new one. That's the way they thought, folks. What's the matter with these people? Well, the problem is their philosophy. They think these people are inferior, and you always act according to your belief. What you believe is extremely important. But be careful what philosophy you have. And if your slave gets out of line, beat him. If he dies, oh well, go buy another one, right? Wasn't that the attitude? That these people are inferior? By the way, that's still the attitude of some groups today in America, like the KKK. I met a fellow from the KKK one time. We got talking about, I had a bus route in an all-black neighborhood, brought kids to church, had a wonderful time. Very friendly folks, get invited in. I mean, 17 years, I drove a bus, church bus in a black neighborhood. Great ministry. This fellow from the KKK told me, black people don't have souls. He told me that to my face. I don't know if they all believe that, but that fellow did. Racism was prevalent during the mid-1800s, and when Darwin's book came out, at last, a scientific justification for what we've been doing already. Sold all 1,200
That's
copies in the
good.
first
We
day.
can stop it there if you want.
There might have been a cover up there. They think maybe one guy arranged that them all bought so it would look like a runaway bestseller. But anyway, he did sell them all the first day. 1,200 copies. Had to reprint it. Racism was popular.
Dude, you should look up Oda Benga. Look up Oda Benga on the Google. You want to talk about some dark history of evolution theory? This is chilling. Okay, happened right there in St. Louis,
That's
Missouri.
where they put the guy in the zoo and said it was like the missing link, basically.
Yeah,
like
dude.
An Australian Aborigine.
Right? And he's just like the only example that really had like we could be sure about because the fact that he killed himself. You know.
I was gonna see if he had talked more because he's kind of going over evolution here a lot. I was seeing if maybe, I think here he starts to talk about, communism and stuff here in a minute.
Well, evolution is it's crazy, dude. The origin of evolution has a very dark history. They put that one guy in a zoo, Oda Benga, and then they lied about how the embryo has fish gills. That guy, Ernst Haeckel, was convicted by his own university of fraud. They was using fake evidence to show that apes evolved into man. You got the Piltdown man, the Nebraska man, which was built from a tooth that actually ended up belonging to a pig. I mean, these guys are liars and frauds, and they're just sick, man. This is how they justified racism. I mean, Adolf Hitler himself commonly would praise Darwin, and he talked about how we should eliminate the inferior species.
Well, we're at 1729 on this video. If we ever want to.
Yeah, there he is right there.
Yeah. If you want to hear that for a minute, let's listen in for a minute.
Okay.
Bro, I'm muted.
World's Fair. They had pygmies as an evolution display. Go to the St. Louis Zoo. Ask them, hey, where was the pygmy display set up? They'll show you. This was part of the evolution display, 1904. Talk about racism. Oh, yeah. Karl Marx was greatly affected by this theory. Karl Marx developed his theories about the same time Darwin was developing his. But Karl Marx would have been just a little footnote in history. Nobody would have paid any attention to Karl Marx if it hadn't been for Charles Darwin's theory coming along. See, Karl Marx claimed to be a Christian. I don't know if he was or not, but at age 17, he wrote a beautiful paper about how much he loved the Lord. And then Karl Marx went off to college. And in college, a professor turned him away from Christianity. I wonder how many Christian kids have gone off to secular colleges and had their faith destroyed. It seems like every secular college or university has a couple of professors who they think it's their duty in life to ruin Christians, don't they? I remember when I went to college, first day in sociology class, first day, the professor said, are there any Christians in the room? I raised my hand. I was 19, I got saved when I was 16. He said, I looked around, I said, I guess I'm the only one, sir. He said, Mr. Hovind, you a Christian? He said, yes, sir. He said, let me ask you a question. Can God do anything? I said, yes, sir. By the way, that's not true. There are many things God cannot do. He cannot learn. He already knows it all. He said, Mr. Hovind, let me ask you a question. If God can do everything, can God make a rock so big he can't lift it? I said, I don't know, sir, but I know he can make one so big you can't lift it. No problem.
I think you already went past the Oda Benga part.
By the way, I wanted a good answer to that one. Jesus often answered a question with a question, right? Especially a dumb question like that.
He swam right through it, bro.
I'll ask him this question.
So good at pulling out a fact and moving right on, bro.
I say, can you tell me the definition of a line? A line goes forever in both directions.
Let's see if he talks more about the New World Order.
Now, can you tell me the definition of a ray? He goes, oh, yeah. Well, he tried to, this is the title page, dedicated to Charles Darwin, from a sincere admirer, Karl Marx. See, Karl Marx knew communism wouldn't make it any place as a philosophy without evolution. You have to get rid of God for communism to work, because communism is the opposite of Christianity in almost every way. Karl Marx knew that. Karl Marx talked about evolution in his speeches. I mean, over and over. His whole philosophy was evolution. Karl Marx, later in life, said, "My objective in life is to dethrone God and destroy capitalism." Nice guy, huh? He got ruined. You know what really happened? His philosophy changed. The devil wants to destroy your philosophy, the way you look at the world. That's what he wants to destroy. Karl Marx wrote the Communist Manifesto in 1846. Everything is anti-Christian about this. Abolish private property. By the way, that's the real purpose behind the environmental movement. It has nothing to do with saving the environment.
You'll know nothing.
They want to abolish private property. They want to make you get a permit for everything. You know, cut down a tree. Gotta get a permit. Well, you're going to get a permit to mow your grass someday too? Where's this going to stop? Where do rights come from? Huh? Are tree rights equal with human rights? The evolutionists would think so, wouldn't he? After all, we evolved from the trees, right? Man, go hug one, like Al Gore. That's their philosophy. The problem is they are very consistent in their behavior based upon their faulty philosophy. I can understand why they go hug the trees. It's because they believe in evolution. I like trees. We got a bunch in my yard, and I like trees. And I've planted lots of trees. I don't think I ought to go cut down every tree. But it's a crop like corn or grass. You ought to be able to cut it if you need to. Especially if it's on your property. You see, property rights are very important to God. The Bible has a whole system set up where everybody got some property. And if you were lazy or a dud at managing your stuff and you lost it, you got it back in 50 years. The year of Jubilee, right? Ownership of property is extremely important. Our founding fathers made a tragic mistake. They had a slogan they used: life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. What on earth is that? You know what the original slogan was? Life, liberty, and property. Ah. See, if you own property, you're not a slave. But if you're having to pay rent and you don't own property, you're really a slave to somebody else. I mean, bottom line, you really are. Karl Marx said we need a heavy progressive income tax. You know that was Karl Marx's idea. And did you know in America it is voluntary? And 59 million Americans don't volunteer. He said we need to abolish the rights of inheritance. Confiscate the property of rebels. Ooh, who decides who's rebellious and against what are they rebellious? Huh? Again, get rid of the property. A central bank. Karl Marx's idea? Did you know we don't have any money? We have a Federal Reserve note. This is not money. This is a piece of paper. You can't eat it. You can't wear it. And someday this will be wallpaper. Our money's gone, folks. Lawful money is silver and gold. And I've studied all the arguments. We can get into that for a long time if you'd like. But the Federal Reserve System has totally ruined the American economy. And now they can cause a depression or recession whenever they want. And they use a system called crisis management. Create a crisis so that we can create a solution. You know, the communists wanted to get a military base in Cuba. That's what they wanted. So the communists have a technique called the dialectic. You take 2 steps forward and then 1 step back. And everybody thinks, oh, he changed. Ah, you're 1 step closer. So what they did, they wanted a military base in Cuba. So they brought in a military base and missiles, right? Kennedy said, get them missiles out of there. And they, huff for a while. Finally, okay, they got the missiles out. They kept the base. That's all they wanted. They've done that all over the world. Step by step, taking over, creeping in. Karl Marx said we need a central bank. Well, when they got the Federal Reserve System and voted in 1913, the communists rejoiced. They said, this is it, the beginning of the end for America. Because now they can manufacture a depression. 1929 depression was totally manufactured because they wanted a new world order. There's always been folks who want to help Satan get one world control. Satan wants to control the world and wipe out humanity totally. Now, these idiots think that they are going to wipe out everybody else, but not themselves. Satan has plans to wipe them out too, but they don't know that. Satan's in charge of all this. They want to reduce the world population to 2 billion by the year 2000 and to 500 million after that. Well, it's going to be down to 0 when Satan gets done, if he has his way. So what they did in 1929, they manufactured a depression. A couple of years later, everybody's starving, and they said, wow, what are we going to do? And Roosevelt comes in and says, hey, I got a deal for you. Come down and get your Social Security number. Huh? People lined up to get it. By the way, that is totally voluntary. And if you have a Social Security number, you have just entered into a trust. You're part of a trust agreement, and you've got a whole bunch of things you've got to do now. But if you send them a little letter saying, I don't want my Social Security number anymore, you rescind your number, and anybody can do that. Simple. I don't have one. I haven't had a number in 20 years. Don't have a Social Security number? No. Why? Who would want one of them anyway? It's neither social nor is it secure. So what's going to happen when you get old? Well, I think the Bible says we're supposed to take care of our own family, aren't we? I don't know. I'm going to provide for myself. If you think you can send your money through your capital and through Washington and get more
This
back
guy's wild, dude, because he lives that, man. He really does.
You're thinking. Anybody can drop out. In fact, some people have received their Social Security number and then send letters off and got all the money they've ever paid in.
Really, we're seeing all this payout right now, and this
I don't know if it can always be done, but some people have done that. But it's fully voluntary. Now, if you volunteer, hey,
So
you pay the
it's
piper, you're going to dance to the tune.
crazy how
You don't want to get out of that. Anyway,
foresight,
central
right?
bank.
You have
What they're going to do next time
when you
is manufacture a
start to
depression,
look at
coming
all
real
these
soon probably,
things.
collapse the U.S. economy, which can easily be done overnight. And then everybody will line up and say, oh, hey, we're starving. What can we do? We're going to say, we really got a problem. We need to solve this. But there's too many illegal aliens. There's too many bad checks. There's too many, too easy to counterfeit money. Let's give everybody a permanent identification, a little microchip.
In today's
like this one
world,
right here.
getting closer and
Give it a little
closer to
microchip.
the one world government.
I've had 4 people tell me in the last 2 months that they saw somebody go to the store in America, 2 of them in Missouri, 2 in Arkansas. They saw them go to the store, run everything over the scanner, and then run their hand over the scanner to pay for it. I haven't seen it yet, but I've had 4 people tell me they saw it. A little debit card embedded under the skin, little microchip. The technology is here. Had a guy tell me 2 weeks ago, a friend of his sold his house, and the guy paid him in cash, $30,000. He's driving down the highway, and the policeman pulled him over. He wasn't breaking any laws. The policeman pulled him over and said, "Why are you carrying so much cash?" He said, "How do you know I'm carrying cash?" He said, "Oh, that little magnetic strip in there shows up on these guns we've got. We can tell how much cash you've got." You ever seen that little strip in the money? That's the real purpose behind it. Yeah. Interesting, huh? Central bank. Last crisis was to get the Social Security number. Next one's going to be to get the little microchip. And you won't be able to buy or sell without it. Better read Revelation 13 and 14 pretty carefully tonight when you go home. Government ownership of communication and transportation. You have to get a driver's license? Yep. Well, I have one, but you don't have to have one. You know, all over the United States, people are sending a driver's license back in, saying, "I don't want this," because along with this comes responsibility. And you can get out of the whole thing if you like. Seems like you can go on that. I could chase all these rabbits down a long trail, but I want to stick with the central theme of how it ties in with evolution. Okay, so we're going to try to, don't get me started on this stuff. Okay, I'm just going to kick them and keep walking. All right, believe me, there's a lot to learn out there. Government ownership of factories and agriculture. Ooh, you know, government is so heavily involved in agriculture. These guys are just tied in, inseparable. They had 2 farm agents met one day at the office. One of them was crying. He said, "What are you crying about?" He said, "My farmer died." They got about 1 farmer apiece for every farm agent. Folks, we're getting socialized in our farming system. Government control of labor, corporate farms, regional planning, government control of education. Karl Marx, why do you want the government to control education?
They got it all.
Ooh, that's Karl Marx's idea. Now, they had some public schools before that, but most of the people in the 1800s, 90% of the people went to private schools. They were flourishing. And a group of rich, smart folks got together and said, "You know, if we're ever going to control America, we must have a public school system." There's an article on the table here about why we got a public school system and how it all ties in. You have to have that, folks, so you can teach the kids what you want them to learn. You got to make them good citizens. Not good Christians, good citizens. Certainly not smart people. You want to make them obedient slaves. And the dumber they are, the easier they are to control. Maybe that's why so many high school graduates can't even read their own diploma. Communist rules for revolution. You know, this was kind of accidentally discovered. 1919. Somebody found this, the red rules. How to take over a country. Corrupt the young. Break down the old moral virtues. There are no rights and wrongs. Encourage civil disorders. Soft government attitude toward crime. Well, he's only murdered 4 people. 3 strikes and you're out, you know. How about 1 strike and you're out? Divide the people into hostile groups. Get the people's minds off their government. Focus their attention on athletics.
I'm going to pause here, bro. I kind of want to read these. He goes so fast. Corrupt the young, get them away from the religion, get them interested in sex. Number 2, break down the old moral virtues. Number 3, encourage civil disorder and soft government attitude towards crime. 4, divide the people into hostile groups, race, religion, etc. 5, get the people's minds off their government by focusing their attention on athletics, sex, etc. MTV, CB. Get control of all media, which they already have. Destroy people's faith in their leaders. I don't know anybody that trusts the government. Cause the registration of all firearms to eventually confiscate. Yeah, that makes sense, but they're not there yet. You still here, Chris?
Yeah, we're almost there, though. I mean, it goes back and forth. Eventually, that's what will happen, though. I mean, with the Constitution, though, and the way that it's flip-flopping back and forth, now that, like, major decisions are being overturned, like, people are no longer having, like, to get a concealed and carry over in New York, and so they're throwing hissy fits. But, you know, I think that America would have to actually be, like, destroyed in order for, like, communists to take it over. The Constitution seems to be too powerful to be overturned. Just like within, you know, the political realm, like they can't do it. There's no way to do it.
Well,
the only way out is like a civil war.
When they do these emergency orders or whatever, it seems like the Constitution just goes out the window. You know what I mean? Like emergency this, all the rights are suspended. Emergency that. Just like you know, in World War II, when we were at war with Japan, they locked up all the American Japanese people, put them in camps.
Yeah,
So
but
whenever
it's
they
going to
have
be
an
one
emergency,
side or the other when they attempt this, and it's going to be the Democrats that go and try to confiscate everybody's weapons. And what's going to happen at that point is the Republican side of the military are just going to rise up under their military Republican, whoever that is at the time, and they're just not going to stand for it. It's going to be a civil war, but they don't want that, and they know that the only way to prevent it is to just stick with the Constitution. Everybody's got to live with that. I don't know if it'll ever come to a civil war because I think they already done hashed that out in the past. And
it might be like mental, like just people refuse to fight for the military, or the cops refuse to go door to door confiscating guns. So it's gonna be like a mental thing, not a war thing. Hopefully, I do.
I
I
mean,
do
because
find some
it's
hope on that Bible verse where it talks about Babylon has fallen. So meaning, most people think it's a lot of people. I should say a lot of people think it's America. A lot of people think it's the Vatican, but I kind of lean towards America because it said how all the merchants of the world mourned. So, so yeah, America's like the number one importer of stuff. We get almost everything from overseas. So
yeah, it's going to take a large army to try to take over America. I mean, if the Democrats want to like make an order to confiscate the guns, then like I said, there's going to be like opposition, and everybody at their house with a gun is going to be able to join that opposition and just be like, "You're not getting on my property without a fight. I don't care how many cops you have because." One side of the government is saying that I can do it, and the other side is not. You happen to be in a bad spot of town here. There was a reason that Japan didn't invade America. It's because the leader said there'd be a gun behind every blade of grass.
yeah,
There's no way to overturn the Constitution in this country.
all right, we might be all right, bro. I got high hopes here for free world.
It's going to be destroyed, though. It's just going to take like a foreign.
I,
I would
I'm
think.
kind of the hope that we destroy the current government and just become this, you know, self-sufficient society where we don't rely on the government for anything. We all become self-reliant on each other, on communities, and ourselves. We get our own water, we get our own food, and we don't rely on the
Yeah,
government for anything. And people refuse to fight for the government to, come invade its own citizens. Who knows, bro? Who knows what the future holds?
yeah. I
Uh,
think I know what it holds pretty well. According to just I mean, you was talking about how America is Babylon, like, and you believe that partially. So, I mean, I definitely would think that is the case. Now, the Bible talks about 10 kings that are going to hate the whore and burn her and make her desolate. So that's coming from God. So if you just find out who those 10 kings are and who Babylon is, who the great whore, well, then there you go. I would say she's going to be attacked, weakened and attacked probably from the inside. 9/11, for instance, was an inside job. So it's no different if you make a major attack on multiple cities. And I'm definitely getting flagged for this video if anybody watches it past 2 hours and 3 minutes, but I don't care. Where'd you go, Iger?
my bad. I X the wrong screen up. A I had a couple memes say, bro. Not many, maybe 5 or so. Before we end it, I kind of want to share them. And then, did you actually see this video of FFT with Peter, or is it something that he's still working on?
No, it's already done. So he was saying that
It's on
he's
his
going to send
channel,
me the video later. So whenever that happens, I'll send you the same video.
so it's not on his channel.
No, it probably is, but it's probably not in a playlist, so I don't know.
Oh, so you're just saying he has a video for people that believe in work salvation or whatever.
No, it was specifically against Peter. Like they did a whole
Right.
video apparently. dedicated.
It's gotta be recent then, because I've only known Peter for like 2 or 3 months.
Well, it may have been like on a video with another topic, like or something. Like he just came in later, but I don't know what specific one that would be. That's why you would have to send me the video, and then
all right. Yeah, when you get it, let us know, bro. Send us a link on Instagram. I'm sure I'm curious to see, because Peter is like a once saved always saved. You know what I mean? Like he's not a worse salvation. If anything, I'm probably more
CJ Cox and a lot of people that come on that can, if you're tuning into those soteriology open mics, you know that they're saying that they're saved, but then they'll turn around and say if you can't prove that you're saved, if you don't have any works, in other words, you know, there's no way to know that you or anybody else is saved, because you know God has foreordained us to continue in good works. So if you don't have any works after you saved, we are, you know.
That's why the whole soteriology stuff. It kind of like it seems like a never ending rabbit hole, because it's like yeah, like what you're saying now. There's like, and then what if you think you're saved, but then they'll say, and then you go back and fall in sin, and they'll say like, well, you were never saved in the first place, and it's like, so it's like an answer to everything. It seems like it's a never ending rabbit hole. That's why I'd rather leave the topic just for Judgment Day, for Jesus to decide who's saved and who's not saved, and to try to call out other people that no, you're not saved. You know what I mean? Like it seems like a never-ending rabbit hole, and people can just call anybody out, and it's like a witch hunt.
Well, the Bible, when it comes to salvation, I will not like. I'm just not going to compromise with anything. You know, if it's false, it's false, because we're talking about heaven and hell. So, if you believe, if I suspect that you believe a works-based salvation, I will call you out on it. And
but what were you just saying just now? That people call somebody out, and then they're saying like, if you don't have works, then you're not saved or something. I don't know, bro. It seems like craziness, and it's been going on for like 2 years, bro.
Like, well, it's craziness because they try to make the gospel.
That's all they were talking about for like ever since the pandemic started, it seems.
What we're trying to do, what I'm trying to do, any Bible believing Christian, you know, we're trying to make the gospel simple instead of complex. So you don't have to think about it in those terms. Unless you're debating someone who believes a works-based salvation, there's no need to invent any tricky, you know, any complex theological arguments. It's so simple that a 5-year-old could comprehend it.
All right, bro. Let me share my screen real quick.
All right.
I got a couple memes because you guys are talking about the third temple, and you know, just because we've been doing these end time discussions. This one's pretty cool, bro. You know, I didn't make it, but I just came across it, and then you know, it's the Tower of Babel back then. This is the Tower of Babel now, where they want to take us to Mars and colonize heaven. So that was pretty interesting. This one was about how they've been building the third temple, and I've seen a video, but it was like a year ago, how they were already starting construction underground, and they have like a area underground where they can go there and do sacrifices and stuff. But then, this one was just a random meme I came across Instagram like a day or two ago. 3 days ago, it says here, it was posted. I don't know if I have audio, but can you speak?
A special procession for the Jewish holiday of Shavuot, using sheep, a special bread, and a sacrificial altar, similar to the one described in the Torah. This event gathered different organizations which share the same goal, rebuilding a third Jewish temple on the Temple Mount. It almost looked like a scene from the Bible. A group of people performing a special procession for the Jewish holiday of Shavuot, using sheep, a special bread, and a sacrificial altar, similar to the one described in the Torah. This event gathered different organizations which share the same goal, rebuilding a third Jewish temple on the Temple Mount. It almost looked like...
That was that about the third temple. That's recent. And then also This one right here, bro. Because you know how the second beast gets 7 heads and 10 horns.
Wait a
I don't
minute.
know.
That one said that they're basically offering sheep as sacrifice?
It said a
Or did they just
procession.
bring the sheep up there with them? It's
You
like,
can
is
watch it
that thing
again.
on a
Just
table about to be flayed? Can you play that one more time?
yeah, I'll play it. It's like 40 seconds long. Before I move on to the G7 summit, which is interesting because the second beast has 7 heads and 10 horns, right? So, and then we have the G7 summit, which I'll show next after this Jerusalem video.
It almost looked like a scene from the Bible. A group of people performing a special procession for the Jewish holiday of Shavuot, using sheep, a special bread, and a sacrificial altar, similar to the one described in the Torah.
Okay,
This
yeah.
event gathered different organizations which share the same goal, rebuilding a third Jewish temple on the Temple Mount.
Yeah,
It
they're
almost
not
looked
actually
like
like offering the sheep.
scene from the Bible.
They're just like
I
doing
wouldn't
like
doubt it if they
this
killed a sheep,
ceremony,
bro.
like they're presenting the sheep and they make the altar, but they're not actually going through with the sacrifice because, yeah, their religion doesn't permit them to do it. That's why they need another temple. But yeah, that's crazy.
I've seen one before where they're like they have an underground structure where they do that, but I can't find it, so I'm just gonna let it go. But maybe I can look it up for next week if I can come across it again. All right, this next one, bro, is about the G7 summit, which, if you don't know, it's like the United Nations. I'm sorry, not the United Nations, the United States, the France. We got, I think, Germany, and we got Canada. We got who else? England is in there. So yeah, I'll let this play, but it's kind of creepy because yeah, the second beast of Revelations talks about a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, and here these people are meeting up, and they call it the G7 summit, and it's crazy. All right, moving. I'll play it.
Late for lunch, the Prime Minister has a question for fellow leaders. Can we take our clothes off? So hot. We all have to show we're tougher than Putin, he says. We've got to get the bare-chested horseback riding display, says Canada's leader Justin Trudeau. We've got to show them our pecs, says the Prime Minister. They may be mocking the Russian leader, but he'd already sent his message ahead of this summit. 14 cruise missile attacks against the Ukrainian capital.
Mr. President, was the rocket strike on Kyiv a deliberate provocation to the G7?
If he heard the question, President Biden wasn't answering.
The price of allowing Putin to succeed, to hack off huge parts of Ukraine, to continue with his program of conquest, that price will be far, far higher, and everybody here understands that.
Late for lunch, the Prime Minister has a question for fellow leaders. Can we take...
Yeah, that's so crazy, bro. Like the amount of just jumbo jargon that they be talking about.
Yeah, that seems wild, dude, because there's 7 mountains, which is like, yeah, it represents also those 7 kings that are going to be in charge. That could definitely be. So I don't know about.
Just look up, or I can look it up real quick. Who are in the G7 summit? Who are in the G7 2022? I don't know, bro. I'm not finding it.
I mean, you would think you could be typological about that and say that they're the.
Oh, I found it.
The remaining 7 kings, because you start out with 10 horns, and then 3 of them are uprooted, and a little horn rises amongst them. So 3 of the 10 kings are going to be put down, and you're going to be left with 7. But if you look at this G7 committee here, there isn't like an original 10. This starts out with 7. So I think there's a problem
Well,
there.
no,
If
yeah, I think
there's
it has
like a coincidence in the number 7, it's not.
well, I think it back to the United Nations, how they have I forget how many permanent members and how many rotating members, and there was like 10, I think 10 rotating members, and I forget how many permanent members. I don't know. I think the UN plays a big part, obviously, because Agenda 2021 and Agenda 2030.
Can you Google something, Iger?
Wait, hold on. I just looked up event G7 Leaders Summit. So it's Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the US. So that's the G7 for 2022. Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, UK, and the US. Easy. Germany, Italy, Japan. All right, I got it. And let's see what else I have, bro. Something about abortion. Oh, yeah, I wanted to show you this. This is just a short clip, bro. There's really a lot more people that are in power that have been throughout time calling for the new order. But I came across this one. I know I wanted to talk about it, and this one I just came across it randomly, right? So I kind of wanted to share with you.
I'm going to tell it to you straight. I'm going to tell you the truth. Our darkest days are ahead of us, not behind us.
And now's the time when things are shifting. There's going to be a new world order out there.
Let's clap for that, you stupid bastard.
This would be the time because you really need world order, financial world order.
This alternative vision argues that ordinary men and women are too small-minded to govern their own affairs. That order and progress can only come when individuals surrender their rights to an all-powerful sovereign.
We are here.
I'm going to tell it to you straight. I'm going to tell you the truth.
Well, I think they took Obama out of context there.
Yeah, this is short, bro, but I mean, no, he has said the new world order. So has Biden. So has Bush Senior.
Well, he said the new world order, but he would never come out and say something like that because that would just be too blatant. And like, I do believe he's a part of a dark political system, but he's not just going to come out and say it.
I'll find it for next week, bro. I'm gonna keep looking, but I've seen it so many times, bro. It's been on so many great documentaries that I'm sure I can find it for next week. So next week I'm gonna have the best compilation of high-ranking people saying New World Order, calling for New World Order. Even that Chicago mayor, the Mrs. Lightfoot, that looks like Beetlejuice. She was like,
"No, yeah, I mean, I agree that they're saying that."
At one point.
That's not what I'm disagreeing with. I mean, that's obviously like something that they would say, but there in that clip, Obama was like straight up, like, we're going to, like, I can't remember what it was saying, but it was too much, you know? I feel like that was a clip where he was talking about other people who are trying to enforce this, you know, like how they're bad people. They just kind of took a clip of that to where it sounds like he's just saying we should do that in general. I don't know.
Well, that guy's evil, but all right, moving on. There was one about The Simpsons. You know how predictive programming works, where they put something out there so you can kind of like get your brain ready for it. So The Simpsons is known for that. So is the Illuminati card game, where they put 9/11 all collapsing, the Twin Towers collapsing. But this one was kind of cool because it's a cartoon, but it was kind of funny.
Wait, what was that?
This was
about the cards?
The Illuminati card game.
Did that come out before 9/11?
Yeah, that came out. That came out in the 90s, I want to say.
For real? Look that up. Because I want to see that. It has 9/11 on the card.
Yeah.
That says collapsing. Like, because I don't know what you're referring to.
Yeah, sure. But I'll go back to that in a minute. Let me just make sure that was all I had saved. Then I had like memes like this saved, which I think I showed you the other day I joined. Where it's just pyramid scheme, America's corporation with a military. Yeah, I think I went over these couple Saturday when I joined your stream or whatever day it was. America's corporation with a military-industrial complex was founded by Freemasons, bought by Zionist bankers, controlled by Jesuits, indebted to royalty, serving a satanic bohemian culture. I'm pretty sure we went over the rest of these. Yeah, we went over these last couple of days ago. I should have saved them for tonight, bro, but whatever. All right. Let's go to the. Oh wait, I'm gonna play that Simpson one. I don't know why I say that. I thought it was good. It was funny or whatever. So I'm gonna.
Truth in Plain Sight Part 12.
Anarchy. The end of civilization. Coming soon to an America near you.
America can't collapse. We're as powerful as ancient Rome.
Take a look at this.
The modern world, an inexorable march of progress.
We
We're slaves to the system. Close the supermarket and we stop.
Cut off the tap. We drink our cat's blood.
Who will survive in this new world? The man who is prepared.
Oh my God, this unsourced, undated video has convinced me beyond any doubt.
And I'm the guy you want to know when the stuff hits the fan. Homer, meet the Springfield Predators. Now, Homer, what would you do in the case of an EMP?
Electromagnetic pulse.
A burst of radiation that knocks out every electrical system in the country.
When things go south, the sheeple will clean out every supermarket in town.
Typical sheeple.
Homer, we all know America's collapse is about 3 months away.
6 weeks at most.
There's always one alarmist. Anyway, when the 4 horsemen ride, we want you and your collaterals right here with us.
Oh. See? These are our bug-out bags. In here is everything we need to survive.
Survive what?
The looming kablooey.
It's reassuring to see you're aware of the future, but this is all a little creepy.
Creepy? Marge, the apocalypse is coming. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe never. But it's coming. And soon.
An EMP?
You know what that means?
Hand scissors.
All right, that was it. That was all I had for the
Truth in Plain Sight Part 12.
predictive programming.
Anarchy. The end of civilization. Coming soon to an America near you.
America can't collapse. We're as powerful as ancient Rome.
Take a look at
So yeah, let's see. Illuminati card game was made by Steve Jackson Games, inspired by the 1975 book. Uh-oh, my computer's acting up. Are you still there, Chris?
Yeah. What do you think? I'm gonna leave you?
Okay. Yeah, I thought you left me, bro. I couldn't hear you. So
Sometimes I do, but
so it
it's
was
just
a
because
built-in
I'm trying to clone
1975
myself or
game.
something.
Oh yeah, you like to do that. But the actual
Don't
card
worry, I'll
game.
never leave you or forsake you.
Check this
No,
out.
I'm kidding.
In September 1981, Steve Jackson and his regular freelance cover artist Dave Martin discussed their mature admiration of the Illuminati trilogy. 1983. I know it was made around this time. I want to say it was like in the 90s. Genesis of game description, expansions. Illuminati card game. Thought I put that. Date, maybe? Well, it goes back to 1975. Apparently, there's a book. Okay, here we go. Illuminati New World Order is out-of-print collectible card game that was released in 1994 by Steve Jackson Games based on the original box game of Illuminati, which in turn was expired by the 1975 book. So it goes back. I mean, it says 1994.
Yeah, well, let's
based on
get
the
into what the
original
actual
box
cards
game
are.
Illuminati. Put my emoji, my screen I'm sharing. I actually found this video. It was called All Illuminati Card Games. If you could make my screen bigger, not the one I'm sharing. But hold on, before you do that, actually, let's Illuminati card game Twin Towers is what you wanted to see. Twin Tower. So yeah, check this out, bro. 1990. Terrorist Nuke is the name of the card. Oil. There's one for the oil spill. There's one for the epidemic, the quarantine. If you can see that.
Get a close up on that one on the buildings.
Look at this. It's got the terrorist nuke and the Pentagon. What's the odds of that happening, bro?
Is that the backside, the Pentagon, the backside of the card or something?
No, the backside you wouldn't be able to see it because it's like a card game. So it would be all the cards would look the same from the
So
back.
these are separate cards.
Yeah, it's like a card game. So like any card game, the backside looks the same, so you can't see the other side. So this is the card. They had a terrorist nuke. They had a Pentagon card, and they're being blown up. They have an oil spill card.
Yeah, but 9/11. Where is that on the terrorist?
There. Well, look at the.
And I know the buildings, but it doesn't say 9/11 on the card.
Oh no, it doesn't say 9/11, but it has the building.
You said that the word collapse or the word like 9/11 was on the collapse card or something along those lines.
Just the picture, bro. If you look at the picture, it's got the buildings blowing up.
Well, I don't know about that then.
And terrorists on top of it. So what's the odds of that happening? That they could just.
Well, one's taller than the other. It looks like maybe I don't know. Not really, because it's kind of bent over.
But who could predict that the?
It's two towers.
What? It's
I could see where you could. I don't know though. I don't know. It's late. It's late. I don't know. I can't make a decision on this one. So I definitely believe it was an inside job. Okay.
Well,
that's not disputed. I think you're actually sinning if you think it wasn't an inside job, because it's just like you can't do that. That's not right.
Here's one that says New World Order gun control. That's where we're going next, and that's one of our goals: try to take the guns away. Here's funny because it's the quarantine, epidemic quarantine. So these are all different cars that they pulled in reality.
Yeah, I thought it was going to have 9/11 written on the card, because then I was going to be convinced, but now not so much.
Nah, just a lot of similarities in the drawing and just the terrorists but the basic.
I mean, that is true though, that it says terrorist and there is two towers there. So, and then one, it's exploding right there in the middle That's because if you watch the video, that's exactly the direction of the explosion. Because it crashes into it and then outside. But those buildings are designed to withstand like earthquakes, and they're even specially designed to specifically resist a airplane crashing into one. It's not like when they were building it that they didn't predict and that airplane might fucking crash into this thing one day. I mean, it's pretty high up in the air, so that's what they account for when they're constructing it. It's just like so happens that the whole thing collapsed. It's ridiculous, man. Look at the beams, and the structure that holds that thing up. It's not going to collapse. It's not designed to collapse. If the top half of the building gives out, it would not fall that way. I mean, it's man, I don't even know if I want to get into it because
Yeah, no, we can let it go because I think most of us are pretty hip to that. We don't got to go in depth to it, but yeah, there's something interesting about this Illuminati card game because if you know about predictive programming and that a lot of these events are staged and they've been planned out 20 years in advance, not to the detail. They get to the details later, and a lot of times there's a lot of cover up and deleting.
But Iger, you do believe
channels.
9/11 was an inside job?
Yeah, for sure. It was done by the Illuminati. That way we can.
All right. What's your best evidence for that? Because I got mine. What's yours?
Building 7.
What's that?
So a third building went down. Do you really want to talk about this online, bro?
Oh, okay, the Pentagon. Yeah, I didn't know that was referred to the third building.
No.
Or Building 7.
Building 7 it's not the Pentagon. Building 7 is another a video that went down that same day due to fires. Don't ask me how the fires jumped into this other concrete steel structure and without being hot enough to melt steel beams, brought down the third building that wasn't even hit by a plane. But yeah, there's a clip actually of a news reporter. We're not gonna find it on Google. BBC clip maybe, and she actually says that Building 7 went down before it went down. So it's right here. I don't have a video, but here's a picture. Hold on. If that came up. And you gotta see this. Never forget Building 7, bro. Like on 9/11, I see memes like that all the time. But remember Building 7. Yeah, you gotta watch this. But yeah, basically, these people said that Building 7 had collapsed before it had collapsed. So they're getting these scripts or whatever, and they're just reading the scripts as so the news people do. They don't actually, go out there and investigate stuff. They get their news hand fed to them on the script. YouTube's not letting me load this. Come on, YouTube, work with me. I actually kind of want to read that just to give us some context. And now, astounding video uncovered from the YouTube archive shows the BBC reporting on the collapse of World Trade Center Building 7 over 20 minutes before it fell at 5:20 p.m. on the afternoon of more 9/11. The incredible footage shows BBC reporter Jane Stanley talking about the collapse of the Salomon Brothers building while it remains standing in the live shot behind her head. How did the BBC know that it was going to collapse, and why did they report the collapse when they're clearly standing in the background? So they're actually in the building.
When was it? What? No.
Collapse.
Are you
Never
serious?
forget Building 7, bro. Serious, bro.
Is that what it's gonna show right now?
It should. I just googled that. I don't have anything saved, but it should show that. Oh yeah, I guess it's over here when Chesney does it.
Now, more on the latest building collapse in New York. You might have heard a few moments ago, I was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing. And indeed it has. Apparently that's only a few hundred yards away from where the World Trade Center towers were. And it seems that this was not a result of a new attack. It was because the building had been weakened during this morning's attacks. We'll probably find out more now about that from our correspondent, Jane Stanley. Jane, what more can you tell us about the Salomon Brothers building and its collapse?
Well, only really what you already know. Details are very, very sketchy. There's almost a sense downtown in New York behind me, down by the World Trade Centers, of just an area completely closed off as the rescue workers try to do their job. But this isn't the first building that has suffered as a result. We know that part of the Marriott Hotel next to the World Trade Center also collapsed as a result of this huge amount of falling debris from 110 floors of the two twin towers of the World Trade Center. As you can see behind me, the Trade Center appears to be still burning. We see these huge clouds of smoke and ash, and we know that behind that there's an empty piece of what was a very familiar New York skyline, a symbol of the financial prosperity of this city, but completely disappeared now, and New York is still unable to take on board what has happened to them today.
Presumably there were very few people in the Salomon building when it collapsed. I mean, there were, I suppose, fears of possible further collapses around the area.
That's what you would hope, because this whole downtown area behind me has been completely sealed off and evacuated, apart from the emergency workers. That was done by the mayor, Rudy Giuliani, much earlier today because of, course, the dreadful collapse of the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center. But New York, very much a city still in chaos. The phones are not working properly. The subway lines are not working properly. And we know that...
Well, unfortunately, I think we've lost the line with Jane Stanley in Manhattan. Perhaps we can rejoin her and follow that up later.
Yeah, they probably saw what they were doing. But yeah, man, man, I got a great documentary I can send you. It's only
But
like
dude,
40 minutes long.
what is the Salmon Brothers building? What is that talking about? The Pentagon? What is that talking about? What is Building 7?
The Solomon building or whatever.
It's some other building other than the Twin Towers, or what?
Yeah, a third building collapse is called Building 7.
Okay, and then it was still behind them during that whole broadcast.
Yeah, correct.
So they was reporting on the building that was right behind them, not uncollapsed.
Correct, and they were saying it collapsed, which it did collapse later. But hold on, before I leave, there's actually another thing to cover on Building 7, which is I think his name is Larry Silverstein, the guy that owned that whole complex.
How can you be that stupid though? How can a reporter in a newscast?
Well, on a live show, you make a lot of mistakes. I just exited myself out. So, you know, if you're doing a live show and a live show that's pre-scripted, you're bound to make some mistakes. And we catch NASA doing it all the time. So, we catch
oh my gosh,
doing it all the time.
We may catch NASA doing. Oh my God, I don't want to get into it. I don't want to do it. Don't do it, Iger. Don't do it. Don't do this to me.
I'm not going off topic. Larry Silverstein says to pull it. Hold on.
I respect my boys at NASA, and
No,
you're
don't have
giving
any
me the
boys at
wrong
NASA.
vibe here. Dude, I do, man. Astronauts that go to space, I believe what they say, that they've been to space, beyond the firmament, okay? I believe it.
So this guy is the guy that owned Larry Silverstein. He's the guy that owned the Twin Towers and the complex around it, Building 7. And he just got like a crazy insurance a couple days before it. But you know, when you do a controlled demolition, they say pull it, meaning, you know, pull the thing, that way the building can collapse. So here's him saying how he goes ahead and tells him to pull it. Now to put controlled demolition, it takes a long time, bro. It's not like 5-minute job. You're just gonna go put explosives in a building. It's like a week or two that you're drilling holes into like the beams and foundations and then
No, dude, they put those bombs in that building. Probably, I mean, yeah. I don't know if I want to get it into like the time of them putting the bomb, maybe like when they actually built it, but it doesn't even matter. It's like it was a controlled demolition. If you watch the video, it's the exact same as if you would see any other building destroyed by bombs, by C4 explosives that are placed on the pillars of the foundation. And then you have also bombs they're like in each level of the complex. They are set to go off in a chain pattern.
Yeah, correct, bro. So before we move on, let me show you this since we're on the topic. It's the guy that owned the place telling them to go ahead and pull it. It's crazy. I can't believe this is still on YouTube. And my internet just got super slow.
It's because this video is going viral, even though it only has one person in the live chat.
Well, with the 5G technology, bro, they can control your speed. This is from Infowars, is Alex Jones, but
World Trade Center 7 had always been considered the starting point for rebuilding. Located north of the slurry wall, 7 had been cleared faster than the rest of the site, and there had been no bodies to recover. Pelted by debris when the North Tower collapsed, 7 burned until late afternoon, allowing occupants to evacuate to safety.
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. I said, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it.
Pull it.
And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.
So he's admitting that they did a controlled demolition on Building 7 here, bro. It's like, hey, let's just pull it. Yeah, okay. Somebody went in there and set up freaking demolition charges in the building while it's on fire so they can do a controlled demolition on it. It's ridiculous, bro. Ridiculous. But anyways, I have a great documentary, bro. It's 40 minutes long. It's called The Truth in Plain Sight. And man, that's a beautiful documentary to watch. It just covers everything. It covers everything, bro. It covers 9/11. It covers crisis actors. It's great. It's a great documentary, bro. But we're not gonna watch it tonight, bro, because it's getting late. And we went way off topic.
Well, I mean, we've been off topic, man. This is like a post discussion, like post topic discussion. We just go off. Me and Peter will be doing that again Saturday. We're going to talk about Israel for a while. And then, it's just a free for all after that. I like free for alls. I even like dumpster fires, This channel doesn't have enough traffic to get one of those going, but future days are coming, okay? We're going to have those things are just going to be rolling down a flight of stairs in the future, coming soon.
If you want to see The Truth in Plain Sight, bro, it's truly my favorite documentary, and it's only like 40 minutes long. You will find it on BitChute, and I'll put a link on the chat before I bounce. Because it's too much for YouTube, bro. If you put this on your channel, you're gonna get deleted. I had it on my channel. It got deleted pretty much right away.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they didn't take my channel down at the time, but they just deleted it right away. I wasn't allowed to post it.
All right, well then send me that link, and it's going directly to my channel because I got to see this.
Yeah, check it out if you want to try, bro. Try uploading this
in a text message though, because this live comment section will probably disappear at some point. Well, I don't know.
I'll send it to you both ways, bro. Yeah, it's this one right here. It's only 37. It's Hibella Productions is the who made it originally, and it's 37 minutes long. It talks about this crisis actor here that supposedly was the father of one of the Sandy Hook victims, and then before he goes on camera, there's videos of him just laughing it up with his actor crews. You know what I mean? So there's this good still picture. So it covers a lot of topics in those 37 minutes, bro. It goes into the moon landings, it goes into 9/11s, it goes into crisis actors and how the media manipulates everything because they're all controlled by the same people. BlackRock and Vanguard. If you don't know that yet, then check out BlackRock and Vanguard. They pretty much control everything. And yeah, it's this one. It's 2018 documentary, bro. The Truth in Plain Sight. It's 37 minutes, 57 seconds long. I'll put the first one I found just because, but this one does have the original cover, and that's how originally the cover was, bro. So, but I'll give you this one here, The Truth in Plain Sight. I'll put it on the private stream real quick.
Directive I'm signing today will refocus America's space program on human exploration and discovery. It marks an important...
I will say that you might want to start off with the first 19 minutes first, because the first
He's got a big ass head.
Kind of talks up. Yeah, the first 19 minutes pretty much talks about the moon landings and you know, how NASA's lying. But after the first 19 minutes, it gets into like other topics. So skip flat Earth.
See, that's why I don't like it. It's like
growing area by simultaneous accident. I'm
Go ahead, bro.
The equipment that's already
why do I have to be associated with a?
I'll just mute it.
No, go ahead with the video.
Nah, I'm not doing it. I don't want your channel to get deleted, bro. I like coming here on Wednesdays. And
I just told you, Iger, I just told you that this video is getting immediately uploaded to my channel. So it's not gonna matter, dude, because the next video is just gonna be all this stuff. 40 subscribers, I mean, I'm just getting started. I could just reboot another channel. Doesn't matter.
All right, hold on. I'm gonna put the link on the.
I know how the algorithm works. I know their system, and I believe that I can beat it. And I'm only 33 years old, so they better just go fuck themselves right now. I'm gonna take their channels over. I don't care, dude. I'm going at them.
The Truth in Plain Sight, but it does a cool job. This is the first time I honestly heard. Oh wait, could this be it? Hold on. I think this is might be where people are talking about the New World Order. Hold on 1 second. I do want to share this.
Governs the conduct of nations.
Hold on. Yeah, seems like it's it.
Be the whistleblower. I'm sick and tired of the secrets and the lies. For years now, talk show hosts, people on television, people in sitcoms have been hired by the government to distract you, to make you laugh and stuff like that, make you happy and docile so you don't know what's really going on.
A new world order. A world where the rule of law, not the law of the jungle, governs the conduct of nations. When we are successful, and we will be, we have a real chance at this new world order.
A new world order where diverse nations are drawn together in common cause to achieve the universal aspirations of mankind. A new world order can emerge. There is the very real prospect of a new world order.
You cannot prove a lie.
Well, you say, for example,
that there were no planes that hit the World Trade Center? Is that your contention? Well, did you see the videotape that the rest of us saw?
What you will see is a fake, a cartoon display.
You're suggesting that there's some kind of cartoon animation there. You're suggesting that the news media was a part of this.
Yes,
those pictures came from the news
No
media.
second plane. It was a bomb. Bombed another building, not second plane. That was a bomb. Who said the second plane?
That's what we're told. The second plane. We saw it on television. We saw it on television. We saw it on television.
I did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
I didn't see any airplane.
Did you see it? Yes, I saw it. It just blew up. A big explosion.
Everything I saw told me it was bombed. And then the South Tower just exploded.
The second building went off.
It just blew up. I was underneath it. I was looking at the tower. I had my camera in my hand. I heard the noise. I never saw the airplane. I never saw the airplane.
That's what we're told. The second plane. We saw it on television.
I never saw the airplane.
I did not see a plane.
I didn't see any airplane.
It blew up.
Oh, I didn't even know that was a plane. I learned that from the news media.
And we saw it on television. And we saw it on television. And we saw it on television.
Charles Jaco, CNN, reporting live from Saudi Arabia. Oh, I love this country so much.
You guys just don't have a clue.
Now, when you detect this, you can tell it's been launched. Thank you. Boy, did I almost look stupid.
If you are able to take a question, did you think that the possible threat would be over because it is now morning there? It's what, just after 6 o'clock in the morning?
The whole thing is everyone assumed that the threat would be over because it was early morning. But the thing about Saddam Hussein is that he has never done the expected. And right now we have... All right, we are now led to understand that there are also firings in another city in Saudi Arabia. CNN's Carl Rochelle is here with me, just came up. Carl, I know we can't be very specific given these restrictions, but within those parameters, what did you see?
Well, what I saw, I didn't see anything hit. I looked very almost straight above us. There's a vapor trail coming from my right to my left, and there's a cloud of something. It looks like it might have been an explosion of cloud. I'd say I just...
Microphone check 1 2 1 2. Some dreams come, stay dreams. Some dreams come true.
Yeah, dude, you're saying that they deleted that video when you uploaded it?
Right off the bat, bro. Like I think right off the bat. And the guy, he still has a channel, Hibella Productions. You can find him on YouTube. And you know, half his videos got deleted because they weren't always doing it the way they do it now, right? So he hasn't been posting much on his channel lately. So then, you know, they don't have no reason to delete him. Now, but
I wonder what happened to.
They just
I wonder what happened to James.
This video violates YouTube policies, and then I don't know what happened to Jamie, bro. He does pop in sometimes and then leaves. I don't know. But yeah, man. Anything to do with false flag events here in America, they'll delete right away, and this covers that too. It talks about how a lot of these you know, shootings are let me stop playing this video, bro. But you can watch it at your own leisure. We could probably play the first 20 minutes because back in those days in 2018, they didn't like Flat Earth, bro. That's why they deleted my first channel. But now they're okay with Flat Earth. They just don't want. It seemed like they don't want you talking about the medical disinformation stuff, which is what deleted my second channel. Talking against the mask and the vaccines and stuff. So you never know with this algorithm, bro. It's weird. And then I feel like it doesn't get you till you get to like 1,000 subscribers, and then it gets real strict with you. And they'll just delete you for whatever reason.
Yep. Well, they got another thing coming because I got them all figured out, man.
Yeah, man.
If I can continue doing what I'm doing, it doesn't even matter. If I have 40 subscribers and I can just post a video that gets 1,000, 3,000 views, I don't see how they can stop the traffic and keep me from getting another 1,000 subscribers within another 2 or 3 months.
Right. If you once your name becomes something people search for, then they're all gonna keep coming back, bro. Like I follow channels that have been deleted 5 times, bro.
Yeah.
In the last 2 years. And then I just search them up again, they make a backup page, you know what I mean? So then you can refollow them.
All right, so we gotta get
it.
Peter here in the comment section. There's a lot of comments coming from Peter. I don't know what to do with them all. But all I can say is we'll see you Saturday and we'll hash out all of this stuff. So don't worry, my brother. We will see you Saturday. I'm not questioning your salvation unless I have a reason to believe, and then we'll see on Saturday. But I appreciate you joining and watching the stream and putting in the comments. I love it all. No bad feelings.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to end it.
I haven't even seen the video yet, but we'll get into all that on Saturday. You still want to share something on your other screen, Iger?
No, I'm done, bro. I'm done. That it's that 40-minute documentary, bro. Watch the last 20 minutes first for you, because you're gonna agree with everything he says in the last 20 minutes. Because the first 20 minutes is exposing NASA. So watch the first 20 minutes and then watch the last 20 minutes first, and then go back and watch the first 20 minutes of the documentary, bro. But this one here woke me up to a lot, bro. Like I've never heard some of this stuff this guy talks about. Back in 2018.
Here's something interesting from Peter. School shooting is planned. How does an 18-year-old have a $60,000 car and thousands of dollars for guns attachment when he comes from a poor family? Do you know specifically what shooting he's talking about there?
No, but I will say, a lot of these things are staged because they want to take their guns away. Just like Ken Haben was talking about earlier, that's one of the goals when you want to get people into a communist manifesto type of world. You want to take their guns away. You want to indoctrinate their kids. You want to, and it takes like a generation. But they've been doing it to us already for like 2 generations, bro. So we're so brainwashed. Not all of us, but a lot of us are brainwashed just to, put on the mask if Dr. Fauci says so, and go inject yourself with experiments if Bill Gates says so. So it's crazy. Like even Ken Haben said, like they take 2 steps forwards, 1 step back, and then they're like, oh, they changed their mind. But in reality, that was their goal all along, just to get you to comply with the next step and the next step, and they're gonna do it again. So yeah, that's how they get us, bro.
Yeah.
All right, man. I'm ready to end it, bro.
All right. We'll end it then. Thank you.
Go ahead. You were gonna say something.
Tuning in, everybody, and like, share, subscribe. Christopher Silvius. I have a debate coming up tomorrow. My partner will be CJ Cox from the synagogue. That's something that I still can't spell. I keep trying to. It's not going to happen. Okay, so
me too.
I don't like
this channel. I can't get it right.
I don't like to have a channel that I can't spell. But if you go, I don't know. Maybe you could type in CJ Cox. You could go to. I'm not going to do it. CJ, I love you. I think you should change the name of your channel. Anyway, it's going to be me and him versus Snake Was Right and Tom Jump on modern day debate tomorrow on did dinosaurs live with man. So that will be totally epic. I hope everybody tunes into that. There's a subscriber to this channel or is viewing this channel for the first time. Iger, last words, and then we'll hopefully you have an outro video that you want to play. We could do that.
Darn. All right. Yeah, man. Thanks for letting me on again, bro. It was good to, you can't really. It's not so easy to talk about these topics out in the real world. People get mad and whatever. You know what I mean? Like, depends on the situation, but sometimes you can talk about them. Sometimes you can't. So, man, I had a blast. So, thanks for having me on. And I guess I'm gonna end it with another ODD TV video here, and I'll say the Serenity Prayer while I'm looking it up. Is hold on, let's skip my mind for a second. God, please grant us the serenity to accept the things we cannot change, the strength to change the things we can, the wisdom to know the difference. In your Son Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
And,
Sinner's prayer. You got that
amen,
sinner's
bro.
prayer too.
And I'm gonna.
I agree.
Yo.
Sinner's prayer.
Sinner's prayer. Dear Lord Jesus, I know that I'm a sinner and I ask for your forgiveness. I believe you died for my sins and rose from the dead. I turn from my sins and invite you to come into my heart and life. I want to trust and follow you as my Lord and Savior. And amen.
Yep.
And I'm still trying to find this video. My bad. Here we go, bro.
I mean, it's amazing how easy it is
to take us out with this song, bro.
To be saved. It's a little simple prayer. Yeah.
All right, if you could share my screen, I'm gonna copy this into the. I didn't even share my screen yet, did I? I am sharing my screen. Hold on.
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. God bless America.
This is the last video I put on my Instagram page. And it's a cool song. I like it a lot. It talks about the Illuminati New World Order. And it's a song, so I like music. Not music that's gonna brainwash you to go to sleep, but music that's gonna brainwash you to wake up. So here it goes. This one's called Illusions.
What you see is just illusions. What you see is just illusions. What you see is just illusions.
Take a look around you. What you see is just illusions. Everything goes in circles, but there's no revolutions. They create the problems, then they offer the solutions. We're nothing but going to them. They treat us like subhumans. Take a look around you. What you see is just illusions. Everything goes in circles, but there's no revolutions. They create the problems, then they offer the solutions. We're nothing but going to them. They treat us like subhumans. Repeat after me. I am not free. They're lying to you. They're lying to me. What are they hiding? I'm dying to see. Why is it God that they're trying to be? The acquisition of wealth and power is what they know. They've always been among us. They own us. They run the show. When it comes to making a difference, we ain't moving. Freedom is a fallacy. You're just a free-range human. From the crib to the grave, you live as a slave, and that's just a matter of fact. If you want to see change, forget all the games. We're gonna just have to attack. This is our world, and we're snatching it back. If you don't want it, move off to the side. Not for the cowardly, not for the weak. Only the strong come along for the ride. Won't be so simple, I'm not gonna lie. But that doesn't mean that I'm not gonna try. With everything that they're doing to all of us, maybe tomorrow we're all gonna die. Either way, they kill us slowly, dumb us down, and make us dopey. Everything you see is fake, and all the news you get is phony. It's time we show the people how the the elite are so deceitful. It's time we rise up high up enough to expose this evil. Take a look around you, what you see is just illusions. Everything goes in circles, but there's no revolutions. They create the problems, then they offer the solutions. We're nothing but going to them, they treat us like subhumans. Take a look around you, what you see is just illusions. Everything goes in circles, but there's no revolutions. They create the problems, then they offer the solutions. We're nothing but going to them, they treat us like subhumans.
What you see is just illusions. What you see is just illusions. What you see is just illusions. What you see is just illusions.
ODB TV Truth of Vision, the one and only. They hate the fact that I'm nosy, but I say fuck it, blow me. I'm a researcher, a real truth seeker. This is my classroom, fool. I'm a school teacher, prepared to be blown away. Everything you know gets thrown away. Take your mind to a whole nother level, put the pedal to the metal with no delay. How much worse must it get before we do something about it? For we are many, they are few, man, we got them surrounded. It's time we think outside the cage where our brains have been placed. The true history of the world has been changed and erased. It's 1984, these things are so Orwellian. Big brother, motherfucker, super totalitarian. Your thoughts being suggested, your speech being suppressed. Always being corrected, freedom being oppressed, always under surveillance, in a state of unrest. And if you protest it, they put your ass under arrest. Take a look around you, what you see is just illusions. Everything goes in circles, but there's no revolutions. They create the problems, then they offer the solutions. We're nothing but going to them, they treat us like subhumans. Take a look around you, what you see is just illusions. Everything goes in circles, but there's no revolutions. They create the problems, then they offer the solutions. We're nothing but going to them, they treat us like subhumans.
What you see is just illusions. What you see is just illusions. What you see is just illusions. What you see is just illusions.